Sinden Studios presents Movies, Monsters, and Music.
Hey, it's Slug. Your boy is sick, so please forgive the recording. We needed to get this out. If you know, you know. So please forgive me when I take some cough drops and it being really loud in the audio. But otherwise, this has been a Sinden PSA. Thank you.
Thank you, Slug, for that announcement. Because I was also wondering why you were talking so low and so quiet, and why you kept coughing.
Yeah,
So you just sit there, get relaxed, drink some Jack Daniels. Did you drink all the Bud Light?
I got mine over here.
Okay, you got your Bud Light.
Yeah,
Don't
God,
touch
yeah.
don't touch the Heineken.
Don't you ever have me drink malt again? I swear to God.
Well, okay, it's not really anyone's fault other than that lady. Because we're trying to leave. Where are we going?
We're trying to go to Brewster's, get some ice cream.
We're trying to get some brewskis over at Brewster's with the boys. And let me tell you what happened. So as everyone's leaving the parking lot, this is a gated community, real nice, Definitely don't have any weird people in gated communities at all whatsoever. And this lady, as we're walking away, we're the last to leave, and this lady honks the horn at us. I'm like, what the hell? We're crossing the road. It's a pedestrian walkway. Any place inside of an apartment complex is a pedestrian walkway. Everyone's got the right of way in an apartment complex. So as we're crossing the street, we hear the honking of a horn, and there's a lady in there, just got back from a tennis match, and she's like, hey, looks at you, are you above 21? But then immediately shifts her gaze to me, because she very clearly, you are 21 years of age. But me with the big beard, looks like I'm a rugged mountain man that wrangles gators for fun? Oh no, I don't look 21. So she asked me, and once I give her my response that I am indeed over the age of 21, she gives us a shit ton of free beer. A lot of Heineken, a lot of green beer.
Ew.
There's Fireball shots. We got some Bud Light. Like I wasn't even planning on drinking until tonight. So this was a welcome surprise, and I gotta be real with everybody. Uh, the next thing I will say is not that it has anything to do with the alcohol, but the last 2 days have been a blur. I know I rewatched some Saw movies with Slug here to try and catch up, but it's all kind of a blur. All I know is we're just talking about the first three.
Yeah, we tried to watch several times, tried to watch all of them, but certain parts of the night we started losing touch. And not only that, there were 2 days we were supposed to be like, hey, first day was Saturday. And we're like, hey, today we're just gonna rewatch all of them. It's not gonna be a big deal. Don't worry about it. And that didn't occur. So then Sunday, after the Braves game, which I attended because my beloved Pirates were playing, obviously we lost.
Of
You're
course.
welcome. You clinched a
Oh.
playoff position. You're welcome.
Your sacrifice was very welcome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
We clinched the playoff spot after that, and I don't know. When we left the bar this morning, or this. Let me rephrase. Not this morning. You can see how my time perspective is warped because when I woke up this morning, it was 4 in the afternoon. When we left the bar last night, the Braves weren't looking too good, but it is what it is.
We just have the best life, man. I don't know what the hell I did 2 days ago, but it probably involved drinking.
It was a good night. We had a lot of good nights.
Look. The reason we didn't watch the movie sooner, because I rewatched all of them in like a single go.
I was gonna get to it,
but you're a working man. You work way more than me. You're the workingest damn man I know. Next to Willow, of course.
She's a working man.
You're a working man. All I know is that
Willow's here.
Oh yeah, Willow's here.
Hi.
And thankfully does not engage in the kind of debauchery we do on such a regular basis.
She came home from her parents' house, so disappointed in this.
Oh, fucking God, dude.
I'm scared.
I don't remember the movies. I know I saw them.
Look, I'll tell you right now. We'll finish your thought about how we got to this point. But bless you. We watched 2, and it felt like it was in 30 minutes we knocked out the movie. And then 3 comes on, and I didn't remember anything except for like half when Jeff is introduced. That's when I remember having consciousness watching the movie. I mean, I know prior I knew what happened because I've seen it before, but when I'm trying to recollect that from my perspective of what happened at the beginning of the movie, what I saw that night, I cannot.
I think I described it as Polaroid memory, which is you'll take a snapshot of a moment, right? And of course, when you take a snapshot with a Polaroid, you gotta let that photograph develop. So like 10 seconds will pass between each photo my mind takes, and there's nothing but this black space in between of that photograph developing. So if I'm in a situation in a conversation with you where I don't know what we're talking about, but I know what we were talking about 10 seconds ago. So if I retrace my steps, maybe I'll remember what we're talking about. But it's really hard to tell how
Before the
inebriated we are.
before we started drinking, I had already been off of a couple beers because of the Braves game and cold medicine and all the shenanigans I get into. Um, but you're the one like the when I know the night had started is when you asked me, "You think that cloud's a monster?
No,
Or do
okay.
you believe in cloud monsters?"
That's not what I said. Okay, I want everyone here to know.
You're completely sober when you asked me this question.
I want at this moment there was no drug usage, there was no substance abuse of any kind whatsoever, except maybe like an edible or two, right? Maybe. I'm not confirming or denying, but we were all with it. Our full mental faculties were about us, and before anything started kicking in, I'm sitting there and to make sure that we were talking and nothing's awkward. Because sitting there not talking is
Just chilling.
awkward.
We're just
Yeah, we're
chilling.
just chilling. So I wanted to start a conversation. And I asked you, do you think clouds are sentient? And this is how the night started. Let me tell you how it ended. I don't think I finished three, but we had this whole couch to ourselves, and you decided to sit about 2 feet from me. And so when you fall asleep, you're laying all over me. And like now you're making it weird. You're making it weird because I'm half dressed. My shirt came off at some point in
I
the
don't
night.
remember you taking your shirt off.
Me neither.
I remember just at one point you're just shirtless sitting on my porch drinking with me. I don't know what happened.
How did we get back on the porch?
I don't know. You took your shirt off at some point while we were still on the porch. You did not go inside the house with the shirt on. You left the house to enter my porch.
Thank goodness, because when I woke up and I saw you, eyes glazed over, leaning on me like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, about to fall over on me, and I had no shirt on. I'm like, what happened? I'm going back to the last photograph my mind took. I'm like, I had a shirt on then.
I was like an hour and a half ago. These
No wonder I don't
Polaroids
remember
are
Saw 2.
these Polaroids are taking so long to develop, man.
It got worse as the night went on, and eventually, like, we just woke up like 5, like 4 or 5, and like,
I think we're done.
we're good. No, I'm still drinking Heineken. I don't know why. It's just we have these free beers. We might as well drink them. And in particular,
I drank a lot of it during our promo.
well, that's for the promo. You're a method actor. You're a method actor. But I do want to raise a toast. Yeah, please grab a drink. I want to raise a toast. Thank you, Willow. Here was that Bud Light. Okay.
See, I'm not problematic.
Here, don't spill on the don't spill on the laptop. Thank you. This is for Jimmy. This is for Jimmy Buffett.
Jimmy Buffett.
Uh, and we lost another one. Steve Harwell of Smash Mouth. And of these two people, I want to say this. They're like Willie Nelson. They're people I don't think about every day. I love their music, but it doesn't occur to me that they're mortal. That they can
Always
die.
seem like they're around. Like when you have a band that puts out like decent discography with like a few bangers, like maybe 4 or 5 really solid songs, you kind of feel like they're always going to be there. Like you see them come up on the concert dates, and you're like, Is it worth it to see those few songs? It probably is, but then you forget. And you forget. Because it's like, these aren't like for us, there aren't like classic rock bands that we're like, if we don't see them now, that's it, man. That's it. But I was talking to you the other day when we were over at James's house. I was like, you probably need to go see Owl City. It's like, because I've always seen Smash Mouth like Owl City. They don't do the same kind of music, excuse me, but in the same kind of concept of bands that have really good bangers, and then when you listen to the other songs, they're like, these are pretty good. Not not like the same levels of Fireflies or Hey Now You're an All Star, but they when you have such a good decent discography, it's kind of harder for us to be like, maybe we need to go to that show because like the other day, me and Willow saw Danzig. I mean, like when we go see Danzig, we know what we're getting. We're gonna get the entire discography is fucking great, you know. So it's difficult sometimes when you want to prioritize what you want to see.
Yes, Willow.
I think the saddest part is when it comes to seeing older artists. You see that they're going on tour and you're like, oh, it'd be really cool to see them, but either their tickets are like reasonably priced, like 200, maybe like $400, like Chandler spent on the Eagles.
That's him. I respect his decision.
But
The
you,
Eagles are very important to him, so I respect his decision.
yeah, exactly. But it's also like they're old, and you really don't know how much time you have left with this like particular band member, band, or even just like this solo artist. And when you find out that they die, it's like, well, dang, I could have seen them, or like the concerts that you were supposed to see, and like either the artist went to jail or passed away.
I think going to jail is a little bit different.
It was a lot different.
But it really hurt because I had the opportunity to see Ozzy. I had tickets to go see Ozzy for my 20th birthday, and he canceled his world tour for his Parkinson's, which I completely understand. Didn't reschedule, and I was like, okay, he's gonna need some time. You know, he's a lot older. He's going to rehab. And was it earlier this year or late last year? He announced that one of these festivals are going to be his last live performance. And then earlier this year, he said that he wasn't going to be making it to this show. So I was stripped of my ability to go see Ozzy.
You feel
And
robbed?
I feel like that's inappropriate to describe it as feeling robbed.
Not by him.
No, you can't predict those kind of things. And like I knew going into it that I knew his show wasn't gonna be like me seeing him in the '80s with Randy Rhoads. I completely the same shit when I went to go see Kiss. I knew that they weren't gonna be there. Because Ace and Peter Chris wasn't there. But I wanted to go see Ozzy. Ozzy is the singer for a band that everybody knows called Black Sabbath, and Black Sabbath has been a very big influence, not just on my music ability, but in the direction I've learned I want to take some of my music. But it's a band that gave me the ability to listen to more extreme metal. My journey through metal music, and Black Sabbath and Ozzy are like the reason I started getting into metal music. I mean, obviously, I have to give some credentials to Municipal Waste for my first exposure to thrash metal, where I'm like, wait a minute, hold up, this is exactly what I listen to. But let me take a step back and listen to Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, because this is what people call the unholy trinity of metal music, where metal originates at. But more on point, I feel like with these smaller bands, not smaller bands, but bands that aren't on your radar 24/7 are some of the bands that you need to go see. Because, especially if you like three songs, but you've listened to enough to know that it's not going to be a bad show, the tickets are like $20, you need to go see them. That's why I'm like circling back. I want to say probably need to go see Owl City. Or that Oreo song, they're probably not gonna do, but that was pretty good. It was
On
pretty.
the off chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many iconic bands like Smash Mouth. Most people can't name 2 songs. They know the one. And when they think of that movie, they probably just think Shrek.
Mhm.
So it's like, are they remembering Smash Mouth, or are they just remember the soundtrack to a popular 2001's movie? Funnily enough, today just so also happens to be September 11th. So
A lot of
2001.
remembrance.
Yeah. It's just a day. It's a somber day for just like multiple reasons. It's like
Mhm.
every time we have a show, not saying there's any correlation or connection, but it just sucks. But every time we talk about something, for instance, George Wilbur, who played Michael Myers in Part 4, he died either shortly before or not too long after our Slashers episode. And I don't think I ever mentioned it or talked about it because it just never came up. But as time goes on, like every time I talk about somebody, like a week or two later, they die. Talk about Robbie Robertson. He died not too long after talking about the
My boy
band.
Ronnie.
You want to call him Ronnie so bad for some unknown reason. Uh, but yeah, I mean,
Jimmy
there's
Buffett is a very interesting artist for me because there's a lot of nostalgia with it. I haven't took the incredible dive into his discography. Been to a tribute show, which I don't blame the man for my situation that went on to that show. The music was good, but just the show. Anyway,
we don't talk about
I
that.
think we've talked about it on a different episode, but Jimmy Buffett has always been like a nostalgic kind of like, I'm not gonna change the song. It's fucking Jimmy Buffett.
Right.
you know, with my
Also,
parents
being a
listening
late
to
kid.
him. Yeah, I
Being a
mean,
late kid.
we don't choose the lives that we live, but being around the lake a lot, you listen to a lot of um that kind of music, Like I wouldn't say my parents are upper middle class, but they do very nice for themselves, considering that they neither one of them went to college for an extra degree to push them just like not even a trade school or anything. So um, it not only to not get off topic, but like they're kind of like in terms of finance, they're a big influence on me, considering that it gives me hope that I'm not going to be living in an apartment my entire life just because I don't have a college degree. But I digress. My point is, I feel like with Jimmy Buffett, you either really like his music or you're like, I like that song. Nobody hates Jimmy Buffett.
He's one of the most likable guys in music.
I get from the perspective of wanting to hate like this kind of music where it's like it's incorporating things that aren't white, putting these lyrics that are white on something that might not be traditionally white music can be upsetting. But I think at the end of the day, if you're having fun with the music and it makes you feel good, like I don't even eat meat. I don't eat beef, but Cheeseburger in Paradise is a pretty fun song. I might not agree with the industrialization of the meat industry and everything, and this is quite point blank promoting eating cheeseburgers, but at the end of the day, I can't be a stick in the mud and say the song sucks.
It's rich white people retirement music.
Yeah.
Makes you want to go to sleep in a hammock on a beach until you're so unbelievably tan that your skin peels off.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it makes you want. And uh, again, it's one of those iconic names in music that you forget. Oh yeah, that guy can die.
I didn't think he could.
Willie is still. Please, maybe I shouldn't jinx. After talking about how everyone we talk about on the show dies, let me not name drop Willie. All right. But a few years ago, he fell off the stage because of a heart attack. Jimmy Buffett.
Ooh.
And had to cancel a whole tour. And that was years ago. And he fell off the stage because of complications, the heart. So looking back, I'm not shocked. But I didn't think of anything of it then. I was like, he won't die. I'm like, oh, it's canceled, but he'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
it makes me wonder about people who I haven't thought about in a while. For instance, when I went to go see Journey, and of course they have that new I forget his name, but the Asian guy who's the new singer, uh, replacing Perry. He's phenomenal. He's almost as good as like Axl Rose singing for AC/DC.
Yeah.
It's like it's a fit. It's a fit you never thought about, but it's like wow, that's a perfect replacement. When I went to go see that show, Journey blew it out of the water, and I got noticeably more excited when Journey got on stage. Leading up to that moment, however, I listened to a few other people, a few openers. Of those openers was Steve Miller. I saw this at Lakewood, and I'm like way back. I'm back where everyone's smoking, against the wall there, like in the lawn area, because they have like no security up there. So little old me's back there with a bunch of stoners listening to Steve Miller. But the whole time, I just want to hear Journey.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear Wheel in the Sky. I want to hear Don't Stop Believing. I didn't give two shits about Steve Miller. I knew of him. I liked him. But that's not who I was there for. And in retrospect, it's like, I don't know. Right at this moment, I don't know the health condition of Steve Miller. I don't know how he's doing. I didn't give him one thought. Until right now, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I could have just missed an amazing opportunity, a great memory that I was wanting to rush by because at the time I didn't think it was important. I'm young. I'll see him again in the future. These people aren't immortal. They're not.
It's interesting you say that because when you were talking, I was thinking of bands that were willing to be kind of like the Grateful Dead for, in the sense that every time they come to town, I have to see them. Like, yes, I've seen them before tons of times, but it's like if I don't see them now, will I ever see them again? You know?
Go to shows. You have to go to every show you can if you have a chance.
If I don't go to this show, this might prevent him from coming back to Atlanta. You know? I mean, obviously, there needs to be more than just me going to a show, but that's how I feel about Midnight because he hasn't broke out of the underground, which he's like. The best metaphor is that he's a boiling pot ready to just emerge out of the underground and just be one of the biggest metal bands ever.
He's been trying for what 20 years.
He's been going at it just shy of how long I've been around.
Your entire life, and that's why I'm like, look, where you are now in your musical career, or even people who have not started their musical career, they get off put by that by they look at all these big stars, and a lot of them they get picked up by agents and they blow up really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, why can't I have that sort of exponential success just like right off the bat? He's a great story of someone who he's niche, he's still in the underground, but look at who he's opening for.
Mm-hmm.
20 years later, he still hasn't hit the mainstream, but look at him.
When I first saw Midnight, he was opening for Mayhem. When I saw him a second time, he was opening for Creator and Merciful Fate. When I saw him a third time, he was opening up for Twin Temple, Behemoth, and fucking Danzig.
God. You want to talk about the actual show, that show itself?
So, we get there.
What venue was it?
The Roxy. We get there. It's obviously at the beginning of the show, you're not going to see many people. But I get like it wasn't as bad as it was the second time for me. It was still not that great for Willow because as it might be a surprise to people, Motorhead is a big influence on Midnight, and that also kind of reflects in their stage performance. Sometimes, and this time I could say it's happened to me, but not this time. They were so loud, she couldn't hear the vocals. But I could hear the vocals this time. Last time, I just knew what song it was based on when he was playing on bass.
I love how loud they are. It's so, when we saw Creator and Merciful Fate, that was because it was an old cathedral, right?
It was the Tabernacle.
It's called the Tabernacle in Atlanta.
Yeah, they have a bunch of weddings there and stuff.
It's a beautiful building. It's not the kind of place you think Merciful Fate would play at, considering it was an old church. But
the second black metal band ever.
All their satanic imagery and everything. Oh yeah, good stuff. But That show, we were as far away from the music as possible. We were down there where the bar was, where all the shirts and merch were being sold, and from the next floor up in the auditorium in the actual stage or the hall it's in, whatever you want to call it. It was like we were already there,
Mhm.
like 10 feet from the stage. We were on another level of the building underneath, and it sounded the second. Okay, I should also say this: they were playing music beforehand from speakers,
Mhm.
so there was already music filling this building. The second midnight started playing, I'm like, that's not speakers.
Mhm.
That's raw music being played upstairs right now, and we start booking it. But the fact there was a immediate cut of, oh, that's live music right now that's happening because the entire building started to shake.
Mhm.
We could hear it crystal clear as if we were feet from the stage. And that's how they play their music. They play it loud and they
Loud and
play it proud.
fast.
Fast. Very
Loud
fast.
and fast, just like Motorhead. And
It's a good
people
successor.
in the comments can roast me, but this is my Motorhead. This is what I'm gonna get. I might be able to see Campbell's Bastards. They ever come to America? They ever do some American tours? But this is my Motorhead. This is as close as I'm gonna get, and I'm very happy about it.
I see a lot of you in him.
I try. A lot of what he does is a big influence on me. I'm not so much a little bit aesthetic, but mostly like the I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna do what I like and how I want to write the song. I'm gonna do it myself because I strive for a lot of independence with my when I write songs. Um, but as somebody who's the band leader, who's approaching his guitar player with a new song. Somebody, it doesn't even matter that I'm the band leader. I'm the bass player. My good, I give my guitar playing, my guitar playing is not that great, but I'm able to establish the rhythm, establish a general direction I want to go with it, enough blueprint to show my guitar player what I want. You know, and a lot of that independency comes from Midnight because Midnight does everything himself. You know, and at one point I'd like to do that, but uh, I don't have a drum kit. That's what really.
That's kind of important.
Yeah, he does. Midnight does everything by himself. He writes the lyrics, solos, the rhythm guitar and bass and drums, all by himself, and he sings it live. He plays bass and he gets his friends. Not quite sure where the drummer's from, but Varnick is the guitar player, and he's really good. His actual solo, like his music, is really good. And if you like Midnight, you're gonna like Varric. They're really good. It's got a lot of October Halloween themes. It's great. But Midnight opens. She can't hear the vocals, but I can hear it. I'm having a good time. I was in the pit for You Can't Stop Speeding, all the classics. Then I'm like, hey babe, Twin Temple's next. I think you're really gonna like him. And I was right. Because if you know Willow, then you know she's gonna like this. You see a woman dressed in gothic attire with vampire fangs coming in with a bee's hive hairstyle, singing like Amy Winehouse. And she's singing songs about feminism and death.
I was entranced.
I'll
I was
drink to that.
just off, just staring. I couldn't even dance with him because I just wanted to keep just standing still and staring.
Did you feel like you're in an Underground 50 show?
But actually,
When they start the
yeah.
show with "Thank you coming to our black mass," now everybody together. We said "Hail Satan" like 5 times.
It definitely put
It
a different change in perspective when it comes to the music that I want to do and the kind of style that I want. It opened up a new doorway. That's what I noticed after that show.
Like, that's the kind of music you want to do?
Something fun like that. Something where I can
it's straight up like 50s doo-wop music, but it's
Yeah.
all satanic.
Like folk and gothic, you
Yeah.
think?
Actually.
If you imagine the Church of Satan by Anton Levy had a 50s band, this is what it would be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm shocked he didn't have a band because his whole gimmick was just
He
pussy,
was a
pussy,
musician
pussy.
too.
He was. He was like pussy, pussy, pussy,
Yeah,
drugs all day long.
yeah.
And like, so what do? When you want all this power, you become a cult leader.
Mm.
But
He's got some good points in his book. I will say that.
he's a fun guy.
Yeah. Or Aleister Crowley is pretty cool too. But
No, he's
that's a whole
crazy.
that's a whole different
No,
topic.
he's dealing.
Man was called in to give advice in World War II. That's crazy. Yeah, he's too fat to serve too.
Is he the reason we have MK Ultra?
Winston.
Think about it. I want you to think about it.
That's
Aleister
not a
Crowley
bad. That's not
talks
a
to
bad.
the U.S. government, and they create MK Ultra because he had psychic abilities. He could commune with the other side.
I feel like we need to save that for a conspiracy corner.
We'll save it for when we talk about Jacob's Ladder.
Okay. At the Twin Temple, we get a Finnish band. Where's the Finnish? Polish.
Mm-hmm.
They were Polish. Behemoth. They were a lot quieter, and they sounded a lot more like Pantera than I thought they were going to do live. Which I'm not complaining. It was a good rhythm section. Holy shit, that rhythm section was on fire. Vocalist, handsome as always. He was really dope. Neagle, I believe that's how you pronounce his stage name.
Talk about the banner thing that was on like the back. You know what I'm talking about with the Jesus head?
He had the Jesus head, and it said, fuck, what did it say in Latin? It said something like, remember thy name or something. It was in remembrance something. It was in Latin, and Jesus was gagged, and it said in remembrance or something.
I don't know why, but that made me uncomfortable. Like seeing that every time, like it would, because it was a projector that was onto like I think like a black screen or a white screen, and I don't know why, because none of that stuff. I literally was just chanting like "Hail Satan" with another. I don't know why it made me uncomfortable, but there was just something about seeing like the statue of Jesus' head, and it was like cut off, and it's just gagged with like a bondage ball. That just made me so uncomfortable, and I see why they were charged with blasphemy.
They're the only people I know ever to be charged with blasphemy since like the 1500s.
Like holy shit! Like it was intense. Their music's also really intense. Like
Yeah.
I liked it. I did, but
It's the only one of those extreme metal bands that I like blast beats. Like every song. I don't have any complaints about the drums.
your drum kit was really cool. It was really good.
They split it in half so they could bring it apart.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cool. Like half the kit she could use just for regular stuff. They put like two kits together.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a really good. Behemoth had a really good performance. I wanted to see as above, so below is my favorite Behemoth song, but they didn't do it because it's not that big of a song. But they also have a really good cover of Welcome to Hell, which is just like let's just update it a little bit, make it a little faster, like more intense, just like third wave black metal, and I'm like, fuck yes, this is awesome.
Midnight didn't play TAP.
No, and I was actually us at the Mayhem show was probably the closest chance we would ever see that
Do
show.
you think that he would ever play it live?
I don't think he's gonna play in Atlanta. He doesn't have enough people here.
Well, maybe not even that. Do you think it's just too crude of a song?
Is there such thing?
Oh,
Depends on
if that's
on
the
your.
reason, I wouldn't do it in my set. It's gonna be a permanent cover in my set list is TAP.
I don't know. I feel like maybe I doubt it. I know they have like a set list of songs they're gonna do, but maybe do you feel like he sees the kind of crowd that it is, and he sees
Atlanta as a blue state.
Yeah.
They have people chanting about Hail Satan
Oh yeah, that's right.
with a picture of the idol of Christ gagged and bound. I don't know, man. It's like to each their own, but I feel like there's with metal and with music in general, it's no hold barred. I feel like everything's free game,
That's true.
especially in the underground scene or in the metal scene. I'm like, you can do it. The only thing I can see that might raise a concern is maybe some black metal bands because they notoriously have ties to fascism or neo-Nazism, and like that I can see getting booed. I could see like that, but as far
Yeah.
as singing about TAP,
I don't mean to get off topic for just a quick second, but what does being a fascist actually mean?
that's a can of worms to unpack.
So just simple it out.
So
Go ahead, Slug. You're the political one.
I try not to.
You know all about the fascism. Enlighten Willow about the fascism.
So fascists are the most extreme level of the right can get, where it kind of blends the line with full-hearted communism, in how it's been done over time with, at least in our political timeline, it's never worked. Just like in fascism, it doesn't work out because,
Damn allies.
hey, we're part of the Allies. Thank you very much.
Proud of it.
We didn't do that in Germany, but thank you, Russia, for something.
That's the only good thing they ever did.
Fascism is when one person has complete control, and totalitarianism is kind of like sandwiched with that, which just basically means you got one guy in power, kind of like a different term for emperor or king. In a perfect example, Hitler was the
Führer?
yeah, Fuhrer, but there was another term. They used it in Peaky Blinders when the prime minister that's supposed to be the new fascist leader of England is, it starts with a C, and I forget what
Chamberlain?
No,
That's the guy you're talking about, though.
yeah.
Chamberlain.
Anyway, so just he's, nobody can tell him no. He's literally the guy. He runs his country.
Chancellor?
That's it. He's the Chancellor of Germany. That's his title. Just like Putin's title is president, but we all know what that means in Russia, what president means.
Jack shit.
But basically, he has full control of everything, and it's not so much in the left extremism, but in right extremism, they particularly have an agenda that they particularly believe that is traditional and what should be, and in terms of neo Nazis and black metal, it is trying to keep black metal white.
Thank you for explaining that. I always heard the term, but I never knew what it meant, so I always was scared to ask what it meant.
It's a basic thing to call racist people, but you can call racist people fascists because it's.
I do want to add on that real quick and just say, personally, I think like extreme leftism and extreme rightism, I think they're the same thing.
It circles.
Yeah.
Right back.
It's the same thing. The only thing that differentiates it is public perception and the goals. Like with fascism, a lot of it is, and the same thing's true with communism, convincing you that you, the people, and the government have the same goal, and you all want the same thing. Unfortunately, that means you got to get rid of people who disagree with you, and they both. But to just kind of finish my thought here is, all fascists are racist. But not all racists are fascists.
That's fair.
Bro.
Okay.
Sorry, you gotta forgive me with the peanut butter. Just took a pee break.
Now look, there's definitely exceptions to the rule. God, you're just loud. You just make noise. You just do it. You're just
sick.
No, that's not an excuse. You're just doing stuff. Now you're smoking. So you go from drinking to eating a payday bar, knocking shit over. Now you're about to smoke. Okay. You want to light up? Light up. While we're recording, I want you to light up right here, right now. Don't be ashamed of yourself. Go for it.
I'm still got peanut butter.
Oh my God. This is... would you say you feel trapped in this moment? Because of this peanut butter. The peanut butter is entrapping you? Don't say it like that. Yeah. Tell me more about it. Guys.
Saw, baby.
We are talking about Saw. Pretty excited for this one. I said this on the Slash Your Tier List episode. Jigsaw, I have him higher than Pinhead. Do you disagree with that? Do you? Like, as on an opinion level, right?
My personal opinion?
Yeah, just your personal opinion with the information I just provided you, saying that I think Jigsaw is better than Pinhead.
No.
You disagree.
Yes.
Is it because of John Kramer's humanity and his weakness?
No, that would be relatable.
Right, which to me makes him a better character.
I'm a masochist.
Pinhead's a character for one movie. He's a character for one movie.
And that was a goddamn good ass fucking character, Chandler.
It was, but let me tell you something about John
She
Kramer.
remembers this.
John Kramer is like, okay, when
John
you,
Kramer's a phenomenal character.
like when you talk about people with alternate identities, like for instance, let's just use a bare basic one, like Batman and Bruce Wayne. Batman is his true identity. Bruce Wayne is the secret identity to go along with that. But like he is Batman, but he pretends to be Bruce Wayne. Jigsaw is who he really is, and he pretends to be John Kramer.
So kind of like how we pretend to be Slug and Sauce Daddy when we're actually not.
What do you mean? I don't act any different on the show. Do you act different?
Mm-mm.
No, we are who we are. We go by different names, but we're the same thing. The thing about like Heisenberg, and I don't mean the physicist. I mean Walter White.
He was a chemist.
Chemist. Excuse me. But
In the show, he was a chemist, and in real life practicality, Heisenberg was a German physicist.
Yeah. Whoever you corrected me. I saw Oppenheimer. I know
I
what's
was
up.
there with you when
I
you
was-
saw
yeah.
Oppenheimer. I still got peanut butter.
But yeah, the thing is, like with the alternate identity thing is like when I think of the Jigsaw killer, I almost don't even want to call him Jigsaw. I just want to call him John because he's such a
I want to call him Kramer. I like Seinfeld. Fuck you.
No, when you say just Kramer, it sounds like the Joker. Sounds like there's gonna be a new Saw movie out that's just called Kramer. Tell me that's not something they would do. Like
That's something they should have done instead of fucking Jigsaw.
it's kind of what Jigsaw is. When you watch it, you'll see. It's kind of what they're going for, kind of in a way. But I think of him as he's a person. Like you got Jason, all he is a mindless killing machine. You got all these other slashers. I don't even think of Jigsaw as a slasher.
He's not. He doesn't like murderers.
He's the world's greatest therapist.
He is. Honestly, yeah.
John is the world's greatest therapist. He's not the Jigsaw killer to me because killing is wrong. Like John, I despise murderers. I despise the act of murder, but that's not what John does. John is a therapist. And I want to circle this back around to our talk about cults, right? And people in power. John, more than anything, is a cult leader. And he propagates a particular ideology, a way of life, a way of governance of oneself and of systems around you, like the police department, like healthcare, like insurance. And he applies his methodology to these systems in order to reform them and make them better. He thinks he's the only one that has this power. He's the only one with the capabilities to create reform, to fix people, to fix systems. He comes in there, and if you tell him that he's wrong, well, he'll probably just kill you. But killing's distasteful, so he'll have you kill yourself by putting you in his trap. So what we have here is an egotistical,
Vigilante.
That's what I called him in episode 4. That's not entirely correct. He sees himself as a vigilante. What he really is he's a prophet. He's a modern age prophet who, like L. Ron Hubbard or Anton Levy, coming around here with this newfangled way of thinking, thinks he has all the answers. He has an ego, a god complex, and I know we have even discussed the movies, and I'm already psychoanalyzing this motherfucker. But I'm telling you right now, he doesn't care about fixing anyone. He doesn't care that if he makes the world better or worse. I'll tell you what he's doing. What we have here is a guy who's scared to die. And like Walter White, for example, who I think is actually a pretty good comparison. You have a meek and mild guy who has money, who did really well for himself, but because he played everything by the books and by everyone else's rules, society, damn it, it is the Joker. Society tells him how he has to live his life, and he loses. He loses again and again because, like, Jill Tuck, his ex-wife or wife, I don't know if they really broke up. It's not really specified, really, but his wife, right, Jill Tuck, uh, she opens up a clinic for recovering druggies and addicts. And what did that get him? He lost his child. You have again and again. He gets misdiagnosed. They swap brain scans. Like he could have been saved. The universe just gave him a giant middle finger and said "fuck you." And I think he got so mad that he just kept losing, despite the fact he was doing everything right. He said, "I'm going to just take control. Not just am I going to take control of my life. I'm going to control other people's lives." It's all about him needing control and being so desperate and scared that he was about to die that he needed to put other people through that same level of trauma because it worked for him. And if it worked for him, it's going to work for everybody else. He wants to drag the world down with him. And more than that, he wants to prove to himself and to the people in his test that they are no better than he is. And so he's trying to justify his actions through the few people who actually survive. See, it works. No, he doesn't care. He doesn't care if they live or die. He just wants people to be as shitty as he is on the inside. That's why he does it. That's John Kramer. And that's why I fucking love him, because that's so cool. That's such a good motivation.
Oh, that's good. I'll let you have it.
A guy who lies and deceives himself to self-justify what he's doing to other people. I'm trying to think of any other slashers who think they're the good guys. Any other horror icons? I mean, there's a few, but in the realm of Jigsaw, in the people he's normally put up on posters with and shirts with, he stands apart way more than Leatherface does or Charles Lee Ray. He is the most relatable and human despite his intelligence because every time he appears on screen, the most notable trait John Kramer has is his vulnerability.
Yes.
His weakness. He's a very weak person. And when we're first introduced to him, he's already weak. And it just gradually through the first 3 films that we'll be discussing, he just declines and declines and declines. And that's so rare for a horror villain to be so terrifying and yet marked completely by his vulnerability. And that's I give props to Tobin Bell for his act. No, fuck, he was in Seinfeld. Tobin Bell. Speaking of Kramer, yeah, Kramer met Kramer.
Oh, yes, he did.
In a record store. That's wild. Let's get to the first movie, shall we?
It's so fucking good, man. I remember the first time I saw this movie, I was mesmerized. That was such a good fucking twist. And I don't think it ruins the movie on a second viewing, kind of like The Sixth Sense does. It's almost like after experiencing the twist for the first time, a second viewing, you're like, give it to me. Give me the twist. Give it to me.
It's one of the best.
Yes.
For multiple reasons. The twist itself, on its face, is like, I know we're starting with the end here, but it's the most famous thing about the movie is there's really absolutely no lead up to it. There's not. It's like when you look at the twist, it's like, where did that come from? It's out of completely left field. Really doesn't add anything to the plot, but that's why it works. Because like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What do you mean? And on subsequent rewatches, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like he's voyeuristic. You know, he likes to watch in. Like you see with the guy, the flammable jelly. There's a hole in the wall. John's watching. So the movie does establish that he's a voyeur. He likes to watch and peep on his games. But this one in particular, he's so involved in the bathroom trap. He's literally in the middle of the floor watching, and no one could tell that he was breathing. Because I guess the muscle relaxers were just that good. This movie came out in 2004, directed by James Wan, written by Lee Wynell. Lee Wynell also is the actor for Adam, who is the guy who starts the movie in the bathtub. Now, I never saw this movie first. Very rarely do I see the movie first. Normally, I see the third movie first. But in this case, I saw another movie. Same year, Can you imagine where I learned about Saw from outside of the Saw films that came out in 2004? Scary Movie 4.
Oh yeah.
Scary Movie 4 begins with Dr. Phil, because Dr. Gordon. So you got Dr. Phil and someone like, I don't know, was it Shaq or some shit? It's like Shaq and Dr. Phil open up in a bathroom, same setup. And when I saw that movie first, got the Blockbuster, because I just saw 2 and 3, and I was binging all those scary movies. And of course, my parents like two shits when I watched, so I watched it. And I'm like, wow, this Saw movie they're riffing off of must be really good. Now, here's the craziest mindfuck for me. When I think of all these horror franchises, like when I think of Texas Chainsaw or Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, they've been around forever. They're dinosaurs, man. They're ancient. They're iconic. They've left their stamp on the horror genre and have persisted and continued on to this day. They're so overdone, but we love them. With Saw, I thought it was the same thing. I'm like, okay, there's a parody movie that just came out talking about it. Saw just must be this iconic hallmark in the realm of horror films. I didn't know it came out the same year. It's not old. It came out in 2004. It's at this current moment of recording is not even 20 years old, and it is one of the most iconic horror franchises there is. Right off the bat with this first movie, and I do think it's funny. One of the writers of the film is also one of the lead characters. It really reminds me of the movie we're gonna do.
Mm.
I gotta direct, write, and act in it, and produce it. And it comes to a point where it's like, how not hypocritical. John's a hypocrite. How egotistical can you be to include yourself? But you have to note with this movie, it started off as
one location.
not just as like a bottle film, one location film. It's not the original attempt. So the original attempt was a short film, also made by James Wan and Lee Wynell. James Wan is so incredible. It's to start with this movie and to work your way to Aquaman, the Conjuring movies, Insidious. It's wild to me.
Quiet Silence. Is that the name of the
Dead
movie?
Silence?
Dead Silence. Yeah. People don't talk about that one. That one's a good one.
Oh, it's one of the greatest horror movies ever made.
It's one of the greatest puppet movies ever made.
It's one of the greatest horror puppet movies.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it might be the single greatest horror puppet movie ever made.
Isn't Dead Silence the one with the puppet that has like its finger on? The one I've
Yes.
been wanting to watch for so long.
I have it on my shelf.
Yeah, I wanted to watch it.
I'm warning you right now. I think it's been like 10 years since I saw it last. I remember it being one of the scariest movies I have ever seen.
It's really good.
It's really good. But to start your career off with something like Saw, and initially it being this very, very low budget movie, and watching it just blossom into this mega franchise worth millions upon millions of dollars is wild. If you've seen any clips from that original short film, and then see them, because they make that, send it to their investors. Investors of a studio will be like, wow, that looks really good. Invest money in it, and then they'll make the actual movie they intended to make when they didn't have the funds to do so. And they make this first movie, and for a first movie, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Good
job.
How do you do that?
Bravo.
How do you do that? It opens with Adam in the tub, and personally, I'm like, what is Adam's trial? What is his? Why is he there? Because he takes pictures of people?
Yeah. He's I guess, a former private investigator. He's like a personal paparazzi, where you're like, I want to know what this guy's up to. Go take pictures of him for me.
He's a PI who deals specifically with cheating husbands. That's his whole mantra is husbands to cheat, particularly rich. I think he says rich assholes.
Mm-hmm.
In particular, like I could see if
it's
the movie.
Very scummy.
I love Adam. I love
Well,
Adam.
Adam's great. I'm taking about his particular field.
Sure, but when we look at other people in the franchise, especially later on, the writing takes a turn, especially in like 4 and 5 and 6. Like
when they run all together,
it gets very serialized, and I love that because that's honestly kind of rare. see such serialization in a horror franchise. But when Hoffman shows up, it's a whole nother ball game. But in these early films, they don't take the vigilante approach. It's not. The other writers come in after Lee Wannell, and you get these different directors in there, and they seem to think that this is Jigsaw. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing either, but in particular, Tobin Bell doesn't have a script. So he is able to ad lib and improvise all his lines. So he comes to his own conclusion about who John Kramer is as a character. And then he portrays that on screen, but that will conflict with the script.
Game over.
It's so good. I love how everyone says it. Every character says it, even Amanda in later movies too. But you have a vigilante in the later films. That's who they think he is. That's what Tobin Bell seems to think. He thinks of this very complex psychology with John, and he's very. I've never seen an actor so invested in their character. He absolutely loves the Jigsaw role, and I'm not saying he has a fundamental misunderstanding of it because I don't. I think just like John himself, he's a bit not delusional or misguided, but he sees his character in a more nuanced light than in actuality. In the early films, John's a monster.
Mm-hmm.
And in later films, they try to kind of walk that back. And he's a vigilante. He kills bad people, but it's his apprentices, Hoffman, Amanda. These are the people who twisted his original ideology for their own benefit. They are the bad guys. They don't play by the rules. John, that guy was good. And that's the beauty of it, is convincing the audience that Jigsaw was right. Because now that's how we see him. He's just a vigilante. And in this new movie, who's he killing?
I haven't watched any of the trailers.
You haven't?
No, I'm not going to watch it.
I'm not going to spoil it. Let's just say it doesn't do the victims any favors. Mm-hmm. It does not paint them in any favorable light. It makes John look like he's validated in what he's doing. In this first film, he almost has an entire family fucking murdered. A kid included. You could say some bullshit about, oh, his kid died. Oh, he got cancer. Yada yada. All this bad stuff. His wife left him. All this bad stuff. That doesn't justify trying to kill an entire family.
I love John's performance so much. We don't get much of it.
Oh, just him laying on the floor?
I'm talking about just in general.
Oh,
with
okay.
his very, very monotone, so you know, the rules are never broken. You broke the rules. Game over.
Sounds just like that. Yeah. Optimus Prime if he smoked just a few more packs of Camels. No. In this first one, he was on the floor. It's so fun watching it now because when you first watch it, you just forget he's there.
First time watching, I forgot he was there. It's dead body.
So when the reveal happens, like, no way, that's crazy. He's there the entire movie, but your brain's like, he's not a threat. He's not something to take note of. So even when he's on screen, you're not looking at him because he's never the focus of the shot. Mm-mm. And so what you get is you have him laying there until the big reveal, and you forget, no, Tobin Bell really laid there the entire movie. Mm. In blood. The whole time. For what, like 6-7 days? Like it was a full,
face down.
Yeah, it was a full week of shooting. The only time he got up was for lunch, and no one would want to eat with him because he's covered in fake blood. It looks disgusting. So he would go over there and eat his food all by himself at the lunch table, and then go back and lay on the floor. I fucking love this guy. This is one of the greatest actors. Say what you want of his actual acting ability. The level of commitment. It's like Keanu Reeves' level of commitment, right? Where Keanu Reeves will throw himself downstairs. This guy will learn an entirely new form of martial arts. This level of commitment is some Jackie Chan type shit. Tobin Bell is full on method, and I respect it.
Killing Murphy and Oppenheimer, learning all those different languages.
Oh yeah, because he absolutely did that. Yeah, I believe it. He learned how to make an actual bomb. He built the bomb for the movie.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's true. Don't question it.
What's his name? Dr. Gordon.
Dr. Lawrence Gordon. We just call him Larry in the household, but you can call him whatever you want.
Dr. There's Lawrence.
Huh?
Larry is short for Lawrence.
Yes.
No,
What do you mean no? Like Dick is short for Richard. That makes sense.
that makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
Yes.
Oh, it doesn't. Tell me how Dick is derived from Richard. Like Rich, Richie, Dick?
That makes sense. You got the ICK in there. Larry from Lawrence.
Yes.
Give me a break.
L-A, it's got an R in it.
Can you spell it? Can you spell Lawrence?
Yes. Lawrence.
Okay.
Lawrence.
Yeah.
Lawrence Gordon, the character from Saw.
Anyway, I love his twist, but we're not there yet.
Well, we already spoiled it. You opened with the twist of the movie. What the fuck do you mean? Okay, so
No, okay, straight up, if you haven't seen any of the later ones, you can go and watch them right now because I'm about to drop a big spoiler because Willow's asleep on the floor, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. I love Dr. Gordon as a apprentice. I love
he's
it so much.
over the top.
Oh my god, his makeup is not that great either, but that's what I love.
Let me hear for your promotional DVD. The slow villain clap he does in 3D.
Yeah,
What? He's so like. How do you go from this very sympathetic victim to I am Dick Dastardly incarnate?
you'd say the same thing about Amanda.
She's going through some stuff.
She's a junkie, so yeah.
Yeah, you know how that is.
Oh, dude, I love his character, but not in this movie. Adam steals the show in this one.
He's so likable.
I feel bad for Adam, honestly.
What was his game? Tell me what his game was.
I don't have the answers for this one.
He was in the tub. He's got the shackle on. Amanda, we see this in 3. She just throws the key haphazardly onto his chest. And I guess they were betting that he would freak and panic when he woke up. Because you wake up in the dark in a strange body of water, you're going to start thrashing. And that means the drain comes up and he loses the key. What if he didn't? What if he woke up and calmly assessed what was happening?
That's what they wanted to happen.
Are you sure that's what they wanted?
Because I feel like if they played the scenario out, if Adam woke up with the key, I feel like for the quote unquote crimes he committed doesn't need to be such a severe kind of punishment. Just waking up chained and you have no clue where you are. I feel like that wake up call of just like you just need to be doing something better because it's not severe. And then with it, like it's also like okay, given the scenario, you need to be calm. If you preserve your life, you're underwater. You need to be calm. Obviously, he's not underwater, but I feel like that filling the bathtub has meaning.
Okay.
Yeah. So I feel like because if you looked at his apartment, it's not the best apartment. It's very messy. It's very cluttered. The only quote unquote clean area is his space where he does his work. I feel like the maybe the water is a metaphor if he's drowning in his own environment. What he needs to do is to stay calm, and he can overcome this.
That's a good analysis. A lot of them are ironic.
Hmm.
This one though always stumped me as like what was the theme?
That's all I got for you.
Do you think Saw popularized escape rooms? Like it was the sole reason? Yeah.
I think it's the sole reason.
And the thing about escape rooms is they have a theme. They're trying to say something. This one always stumped me because I'm like I don't really know. Like for Gordon, it makes sense he would be forced to cut off his own leg. He's a surgeon. That's ironic that he would have to sever his own limb.
Mm.
With Adam waking up in a bathtub, I'm like, yeah, drowning. I guess
in your environment.
Sure, that's the closest we got. But the key has a light on it, so if he stayed calm, he'd have the key. Now that doesn't mean he gets to leave the room. His game is to survive. That's the whole point. Adam just has to survive, and it's made easier by the fact that if he had the key, he could free roam the room. He could walk around the room freely, it would be fine, but Gordon would be at the severe disadvantage in this situation. And I'm thinking, well, if that had played out the way they wanted, why would Adam walking around the room? What would that have done to service the game?
Because it's a test of Gordon's intelligence. He has a doctorate's degree, who lives in a really nice house, who can afford to have affairs with their coworkers, booking hotel rooms. I feel like, in that sense, it's a test of intelligence because, excuse me, excuse me. I feel like it's a test of intelligence because, given the two perspectives, obviously we can. The books can tell us that he's smarter if he's able to be a fucking surgeon doctor. He's gonna have a little bit more not like intelligence level than just Adam, who lives in a scummy apartment, who's taking pictures of rich assholes. Which I feel like you fall in that kind of. Are you? Do you really think you're outsmarting them if you're taking rich people's money to take pictures of rich people? You know,
Right.
you're only feeding the machine and everything. I feel like I feel like it would be a test of intelligence for Dr. Gordon to see or how he escapes it because he is at such a disadvantage. How can he outsmart Adam to get him somehow out of the chain so that they both can go? Because the game says the only one person can leave, right? Or somebody has to die. Because Gordon gets the thing that says Adam needs to die. And then Adam's whole game is just to survive when Gordon's game tells him Adam needs to die. You know what I mean?
It's clever.
Yeah.
It's really good that the entire movie they're pitted against each other. It forces to believe, at least from Gordon's perspective, that one of them has to die.
Mm-hmm.
When in actuality, if you do look at most of Jigsaw's traps, not his apprentices, but if you look at his traps, they are meant to be won.
Right.
You can win them. I know I went on this whole rant about how his psychology is bullshit and how he really just wants everyone to die or wants people to realize how shitty they are. But I think that's his true motivation. But I don't think he knows that. So yeah, the traps are originally designed to be won. And to me, they did.
For the most part, yeah.
Adam did win. Did he get himself unshackled? No, that wasn't the game. When Jigsaw reveals himself at the very end, he tells Adam, the key to your shackle is in the bathtub. Now, that might be him teasing him or mocking him cruelly, but I don't know. How do you interpret that? He tells him exactly where the key is.
He wasn't anticipating it to go down the drain.
Then Jigsaw fucked up. He made a mistake.
Okay, so then you tell me why Amanda goes back and kills Adam.
What answer do you want? Because I got two of them.
I want both.
You want both answers?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this is going to get heavy really quick. First and simplest of the answers is Mercy. There's a deleted scene from the first Saw, or excuse me, from Saw 3, where Amanda is on the same apartment block as Adam, and they run into each other, and I think he flirts with her. Not in a creepy way that makes you dislike him, just in a very friendly way.
Mm-hmm.
They interact, and apparently she came away liking him. Not in that kind of way, but just in a, this guy's all right, you know? He was being nice to me.
Mm-hmm.
This stranger was being nice. And it's made worse by the fact that they're neighbors. So when she goes into the bathroom and puts the bag over his head, you could interpret that as a mercy. She didn't want him to suffer alone in the dark by himself, and so she killed him as a mercy. Now, the second option, and the one that's more out there and probably going to give you some flack, is she didn't kill Adam. What she did was she made him pass out so she could save him. That's I do believe in the crackpot theory. Hate me all you want. Adam is alive. I don't think he died.
Kind of like Stu's still alive.
Yes. Because if you don't if you have 100% confirmation, you know how convoluted Saw is. You know how twisty and turny its timeline can be. Would it really be that shocking?
No.
That'd be like if something's revealed in Saw X, right? It'd be 20 years later. I still think that's insane. It's like when Doctor Sleep came out for The Shining, and that was like 40 years later, and it actually turned out to be a really good follow up and really added to everything. If 20 years later they revealed it to where Adam was alive, I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be like, it's too long. It took a long time. I'm glad we came to this point. What do you think?
I don't know.
You don't know what to believe?
No,
I
it's like I don't know. I would love to have Adam back, but I feel like kind of I believe Amanda was giving a mercy kill.
You like that more
Yeah.
than her knocking him out and simply not telling John that she was moving him?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then tell me who's taking all those photographs in every movie. John would really need a guy to keep tabs on everybody. So the reason his game was so easy to survive and win in the first place, because he wanted him to take pictures for him. His whole job is to keep tabs on people, to follow them around without their knowledge. Wouldn't that be really handy to have a guy with that ability to keep tabs on people, invade on their lives? John knows some really weird shit about people that there's no way he should know because he wasn't there. What if he had a guy who could spy on people unnoticed and take their pictures?
So then why would he need so why would Amanda need to hide the fact?
Because John didn't want him to survive. John decided that he wanted him dead. He didn't win his game. For whatever reason, the key was lost, or he was still shackled, and part of him surviving was getting free of the shackle. Or what if? Because I love this. This like it's too uplifting and too wholesome for Saw. Because there's not the only good ending in the series is like fucking 7, and it's not even a good ending. But like, there's no good endings in this entire franchise. So this might be something they're not willing to do. But I like to think that when Gordon's like, I promise you, I am going to free you. I will come back for you. That he was telling the truth. And it was Gordon that had Amanda save Adam. Against Jigsaw's wishes.
But Gordon died.
No, he didn't.
Didn't?
Gordon? No.
I remember him dying.
No, he's the apprentice in 7.
Yeah, I know what I was saying. I
No.
remember him dying
Nope.
later on.
So you're going to have to rewatch those. Gordon doesn't die. And especially at this point in the timeline, it makes sense that Gordon, because this is, let's see, if this is happening right after 1. Oh, there's about a year gap between the first and second movie. Yeah, I mean the timeline works out. I think Gordon sent Amanda to go get Adam, and because think it, Hoffman didn't know about Gordon. When Hoffman sees Gordon in 3D, he's like, "What the fuck?" He's shocked. He is like, "I didn't know you were working with Jigsaw the whole time." He had no idea,
Right.
and he thought he was like the successor to John. So to be like, "Who is this guy?" So you got Lawrence Gordon. I think he's working with Adam, who Amanda saved on his behalf. I can't talk about it now, but you know there's other Saw movies you have not seen.
Just one.
Yes.
Spiral.
That's the only one you haven't.
No.
But so you know Jigsaw.
I've seen Jigsaw, yeah.
So we got Logan running around. We got whoever's doing it in Spiral. We got Dr. Gordon, possibly Adam. We have quite a laundry list of people who consider themselves to be the successor to John's work. We have a lot of people who deem themselves the new Jigsaw. I think where all of this is leading, this might sound silly, but it's going to be like some in-game, that's a horrible way to describe it. It's going to be like Jigsaw Wars. Where you have all these people simultaneously holding the title, the mantle of the Jigsaw Killer, all with their own completely different views on it and what that means. and I think they're all going to come to a head. And that's where the franchise is going next after Saw 10. I think Saw 10 is going to reveal that this is I say this right on the show. I think Adam's going to be revealed to be alive at Saw X.
It was revealed that Adam is the game master in Spiral.
That would be something. That definitely would be something. But let's go with that. Let's say we got like 4 different, especially so we got Hoffman, Lawrence Gordon, Logan, guy from Spiral, and now
Amanda. Forgot Amanda.
she's dead. She dies in 3.
You literally told me she's in the trailer for the 10. So
Yeah.
So Amanda.
Nope. Nope. Just understand that Saul's really good at fucking around with the timeline. It never reboots itself. It's very, very concise.
Is it tight?
It's loose in places to allow certain stories to be told. It has a very loose continuity, but it's not like it contradicts itself. Like there's some things that don't really make sense. Some things might be considered plot holes, but it's a very firm timeline as far as like when stuff happens. And you can fit whatever you want in that timeline. That's all I'm gonna say about Saw 10 is that without telling you who doesn't know what the twist is, I don't even know if it's a twist. It's in the marketing, but you haven't seen the marketing. All I'm gonna say is it plays a little bit with the timeline. But if we move past Saw 10 in the way like Jigsaw plays around with the timeline and is actually taking place in the modern day, uh, like in that world where we're in the present time, Jigsaw is dead. You have multiple people vying for the throne, so to speak. I think that's where the franchise could go next. A bunch of Jigsaws thinking that they're the real Jigsaw. It's religion. You have a prophet who dies, and you have all the followers come, or like Alexander the Great dying. You have all these people under him, all the underlings, not knowing what to do with his legacy. This person you've been following is dead, and it all falls apart, and it's up to you to pick up the pieces and advance it forward from your perspective. I think Lawrence Gordon is the only one who will take it in a good direction. Maybe Logan, because he's an actual Logan's a straight up vigilante. With Gordon, I think he's the one that believes the most in what John's teachings have to offer. Because they worked for him. I think he's just like with Amanda, except maybe not as unhinged. He's actually going to try and complete Kramer's work. The closest to how Kramer would have done it.
Right.
That's what I think the franchise is going, is a Jigsaw war. Oh, that's great. How about you? You like any of the theories I've been spouting?
A
Too
lot
much?
of them are really good. I got nothing. I don't really think about sequels for this particular series because I really feel like after watching Jigsaw, or actually after watching the final chapter, I felt like that we didn't need. And then when I saw Jigsaw, I was like, "That's too easy. It's too easy to write a movie like that. Fuck you guys. That was good, but fuck you guys."
Yes, that's why. Like watching Jigsaw, I was like, because we're gonna talk about it in depth later at some other point. But watching Jigsaw, I'm like,
Fuck you guys.
everyone hates the movie because of how easy it was to write. But I'm like, they wrote a Saw movie.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good Saw movie. Am I crazy?
No.
It's a legitimately good movie. But I'm like, you could do something new. Do something, I don't know.
Anything else?
But like, that was really fucking good. And it pisses me off.
Give us another Killer Clowns movie.
It's going to happen.
Mm-mm.
You see all the marketing everywhere? There's Killer Clowns everywhere. It's everywhere. No, it's coming back.
We're not getting one.
But we get Saw sequels?
That ship has sailed.
Has it sunk?
It's already sunk.
It's on the bottom of the ocean?
It's with the Titan.
So, well, just like the Titan, it can be recovered. Mark my words. Mark them. That's what I think. But with the legacy of John and how I think it's a bunch of like apostles having the schism.
Is John Jesus?
Yes. You can't tell me you don't see the religious allegory.
I do. I just don't. I wasn't thinking about it. I was just like, I like the film.
This is a deep
I
movie.
know.
These are deep
know.
movies that can be analyzed. People call them mindless violence and torture porn, and they're wrong. These are like the same parents who say Harry Potter is Satanist, like or satanic. You're crazy because there's magic in it. It's satanic. Give me a break. No, 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 no. This is not.
Magic Dog.
This is not torture porn. Torture porn is like Hostel
Hostels.
or August Underground.
I still haven't seen that one.
Or there's I've been watching more intense gore movies. Some of them bordering on snuff. Honestly, some of them, but maybe that's why I don't consider this torture porn because I've seen what actual torture
You're
porn
numb.
looks like.
You're numb to it.
I'm desensitized
Yeah.
in a way, and I'll tell you why I don't think so. Even if I am desensitized to violence and gore, I do think this franchise has merit. It's got value to it. There's so much substance to take away, so many moral questions. Like how the fact that John not once stops to ask himself if he is being tested.
No, he never does.
His life is tragic. He's dying of cancer. His son Gideon dies, of which the Gideon meat packaging plant gets its name from, where a lot of the movies take place. His wife leaves him. He tries to kill himself and fails, and he has this new lease on life. If he had taken all of those steps, lived through all of that, and got to that point and realized, I appreciate my life. Let me live it to the best of my ability while I still can, and try to be a pleasure to be around. Try to be a good person, make the people in my life happy. Instead of coming out with that outlook, he's like, I am going to torture everyone around me. I'm gonna quote him. I'm gonna test the fabric of human nature in an Evil Dead way to test the metal of man. And I'm like, that's really cool. I dig that. But that's you never stop to wonder, did you fail your test? Because it made you mean, you became cruel and apathetic, and everything you were killing other people for, you're the biggest fucking hypocrite. You get Adam because he's apathetic and he's a voyeur. You do both of those things. You watch in on your own games. That's a voyeur. You're voyeuristic because you're watching pain and be inflicted from the safety of behind a wall or on the bathroom floor. And also, you're apathetic. He says so many contradictory things, and it's all purposeful.
Yeah.
It's all like in the script. It's very clear that he is delusional and he's crazy. And that's why he's so good, because he doesn't make any fucking sense. He doesn't make any. I love this guy. He makes no sense. But that's why I think there's value to these movies. That if there's something to take away, I would say it's everyone goes through trials. Everyone has hiccups in life. But it's not the actions you commit necessarily, it's your reactions to them. If bad things happen in life, how do I react to it? Did I learn from it? Did I grow from it? But to have a person like John think he's exempt from that rule shows,
fuck you guys.
yeah, this shows you how delusionary he is. I don't know. If there's substance to these films, what do you think they would be? What's the takeaway?
I appreciate the time that you have. Things are bad, but they could always be worse.
Especially if you get put in the rack from 3.
Jesus Christ.
That's my favorite.
It's unfair.
Because, well, especially with the traps in 3, it's like the whole point is the people in the traps aren't even the ones being tested.
Right.
That's unfair. A lot of what John does is unfair, but he will sing to the high heavens about how murder's bad. I give everyone a chance. He grabs Hoffman by the collar, essentially, and is like, murder's bad. My way or the highway. As he does some of the most heinous shit.
Mm-hmm.
He kidnaps Gordon's family and holds him at gunpoint with someone we haven't even mentioned yet, which is Zepp Hindle.
Yeah.
Zepp Hindle is supposed to be the big bad of the film, but here's my problem with the way it's shot. All right, James Wan? It's so very clearly Zepp the second you see him. It's just like the jawline or the cheeks. The second you see him, you're like, yeah, that's Zepp Hindle, the guy we saw for 5 seconds earlier in the film.
Yep.
And then it's revealed who it is, and you're like, well, no shit. Now, one reveal that's not even a reveal, but it's like, I forgot about that. Detective Tapp, who we have you talked about. Detective Tapp is the father of fuck, what's his name? Donald Glover? Yeah,
Oh yeah, the father. Yeah,
yeah,
he's father of Donald Glover. He's Donald Glover Senior, right?
yeah. Donald Glover Sr. He was in 2012. I mean, he was in so many movies. That's my favorite role of his when he played the president in 2012. But he's the father of Donald Glover, and I remember you telling me it was so funny. You're like, imagine if your son was just more talented than you, more famous than you. He played in music, he played in movies. Everyone loves him.
He's like, not only am I gonna be a better actor than you, I'm gonna be a comedian and a very successful musician.
And voice Marshall Lee and
Yeah,
Fiona and Kate.
I'm gonna be a voice actor, a live action actor. I'm gonna be a comedian, a musician, and a poet.
He's a Renaissance man. He
He
does it
it
all.
really is. Yeah,
He does it all. And he completely outshines his father in every single way. But damn, I love him in this first movie. But he gets like zero screen time.
it's funny that like I can see how people say that Donald Glover's like a really good actor, but I've always enjoyed literally everything else he's done,
Like the music and stuff.
and mostly the music and comedy. I really enjoyed.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah, but his acting is okay. Like not bad. It's not. It's not like I'm drawn to it. Like his in Community, that's not my favorite character.
Yeah.
His character wasn't my favorite, but
Did you like the gas leak arc?
yeah, that was
You like that?
funny. But yeah, Donald Glover's dad's Detective Tapp is just obsessed with Gordon.
I just wish it was more Tap because like having played the
It's
360 video games, I'm like Tap was the main character in that first video game, so I just always remembered him having a bigger presence in Saw. But this is it. He's in this, and I think he shows up as a photo at a funeral in like four. That's it.
it's interesting, like how he kind of predicted the future.
Oh, explain.
He thought Gordon was the killer, and he was not the killer yet.
Yeah, yeah. Good point. That's a good observation. Yeah, it's like his hunches were correct, just
Not
not
ready
now.
yet. Not ready yet. Still marinating.
Yeah, hold on. Give it a few more years. If he had waited,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if he. Wait a minute. What did Detective Tap do? Like what?
Get
What?
his partner killed.
Oh, Detective Singh
You know.
with the shotgun trap.
Mm.
Here's my thing, man. Like I feel like this might be controversial. I don't know. I feel like the entire movie should have been in the bathroom.
Yeah.
I,
I don't really have a problem with that one. I feel like all of the extra bits at Gordman's house was a bit much, and I don't think we really needed to see the actual like affair. I think it's a bit much to show like he's fucking his coworker.
well, you never see it, and we do see him like turn her down. So that's he's doing something unlikable, but he's also charming because he's telling her no, not right now, and then he leaves. But it's only after he thought he got caught. So he's always so likable. I love Gordon. I do. I love Gordon and Adam's characters. I think.
That was better.
Well, yeah, no
Gordon
shit.
doesn't get good until 7.
When he's
When he shows up again.
a muscle twirling bad guy
Mm-hmm.
who ties ladies on
Or
railroad tracks.
fake leg.
Uh, Everyone called it. Do you remember back in the early days? Remember those old SpongeBob cartoons on YouTube where people would recreate the stories about SpongeBob characters?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I learned a lot of Saw from that. And at the time when I saw those, I'm like, I didn't know they were like Saw just came out. I
Mm-hmm.
thought these were like old movies, and they just come out. Think every Saw movie from like 2004 to 2010. They came out on an annual basis. It was like every October. It was a Halloween tradition to go see Saw.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned a lot of stuff about Saw from those movies. And I don't know. Looking back, especially with all the fluff and stuff in one, it feels more concise, and they kept to this bottled formula of just stick to one location. It cut down on the choppy editing. I think it'd been even better, because I already think it's great. I think it'd been better if they just kept it more focused. Because then they have A, B, and C, and D plots all happening at the same time. Oh, they're not happening at the same time. Actually, it's the other way around. These happened first, and then it led to this. No, this timeline's happened concurrently with this
But
timeline.
that's so fun. That blew my mind the first time I watched. Like I binged. So I had already seen 1 through 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I hadn't seen the other ones. This is prior before the episode. My first time watching those last bit all the way up until I saw Jigsaw when it came out. But 4, 5, 6, and 7 all run together.
They do.
I was so enthralled. Like I did not miss a beat. I just kept playing play on the next one, next one. It really felt like Flash Gordon. How much I was just like next episode, next
Well,
episode.
that's also to its detriment sometimes, because when we go to discuss them,
We ran out of Saw movies.
I will talk about something that happened in 5, and you might correct me and be like, no, that was actually in 6. That happens a lot when I talk about Saw with people, because it's so serialized and they run right into each other. It could be a TV show. It should be. It should honestly. It feels like a soap opera police procedural,
Mm-hmm.
like CSI or NCIS.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like if you split each movie into 2 episodes, you'd have a full season of television right there.
I really feel like there needed to be more police activity shown on screen because we get nothing after the first 20 minutes of the third movie. Like there's so much downtime during because it's like obviously they're watching the game and Kramer's gonna go under surgery, but at the same time it's just so low key. It's just like any moment the police can kick open the door and say FBI open up.
That's what I like about early Saw movies, is how proactive the police actually are, and not just that, but they're good.
Mm-hmm.
They're competent at their job. It's not like yeah, they're corrupt, or especially like later movies. It just makes all the police look completely incompetent. These first few movies, though, they're on the prowl.
Uh-huh.
And even the first movie, two detectives, they figured it out. They found Jigsaw. And at first, I thought on that tape where they're like, oh, wait, I know that location. I know that building. I was like, oh, Jigsaw's so smart. He clearly planned that to happen. I don't think so. I think they fucking got his ass.
Right.
When they show up at his little crib, his MTV crib,
Mm-hmm.
and then he's got that guy sitting in the chair with the drills going into his temples. Jigsaw's like, who the fuck are you guys? Like,
Right.
It's like, what? He's shocked that they found him. That was not planned. And again, like, yes, he's a genius. This guy's a genius engineer. He makes mistakes too. Quite frequently. He made a mistake with Amanda. She was not emotionally ready.
Mm-hmm.
But as it turns out, the whole breakdown she has at the end of 3 is actually because of events that are explained in a later film, and it's not just because she's emotionally unhinged. There's a reason, and that's the great thing about Saw.
They were fucking.
John and Amanda.
They were fucking.
That comes up in Saw 10.
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, spoilers. That shows up in Saw 10.
We're gonna have Baby Jigsaw. It's gonna be like Boss Baby, but Jigsaw.
That's a scary. Is Alec Baldwin gonna play him too?
Goo goo gaga.
Or has that ship sunk?
And that's fucking funny. That's why I had my Peacock picture as Alec Baldwin. That's the sole reason. And I thought it was so funny. It's sad. We're not going to talk about what exactly we're talking about because we're talking about Saw. I feel like, all in all, I feel like the police really tank really early. I'm not sure for you when the cutoff is, but personally for me, I think as soon as the first movie's done, they're all incompetent.
After the first.
Yes, after the first movie, all of them are incompetent.
The reason why I'm going to disagree is Saw 2, even though it's not like the opening scene or the opening shot, very early in that movie, they find Jigsaw's place.
Mm-hmm.
And they have him dead to rights. Now, he still had the upper hand because, well, of the game happening in that film. The fact that Eric Matthews, played by Mr. Wahlberger himself, died.
God, I said it every time he came on screen. Look, it's the Wahlburger.
Oh,
Wahlburger.
it didn't matter if there was 2 seconds between a shot without the Wahlburger on it. The second, like he's on the screen, it's the Wahlburger. Shoot the Detective Carey, 2 seconds, come back, it's the Wahlburger. So you can imagine it was just the Wahlburger, nonstop for the first half of the movie until you got so tired you couldn't do it anymore.
The second one went so fast.
It was like I don't even remember watching it. It went by so
Dude,
fast.
I only did that because at the game, when we were at the Pirates game, we had Wahlburger over at near Truist Park.
Yeah, so at Truist Park we went and ate at Wahlburgers, and Donnie wasn't there, Paul wasn't there, Marky Poo wasn't there.
We're not calling him Marky Poo. That's only Markiplier.
Anyways, the Funky Bunch.
The Funky Bunch was not there either.
They were not present, but they had these big things on the ceiling.
Oh my god, it is so funny. Let me say this.
Okay, go ahead.
I think the funniest part is that I get it, but I find it so fucking funny. Imagine you have 3 brothers, right? You're not the most successful actor of the out of the 3 brothers, right?
Okay.
But you have some really good roles, right?
Okay.
And the other guy is just the chef, right? He
Uh-huh.
really hasn't done anything in film as much as you or your brother, right? There's only posters of your brother's movies there. When you have almost a third of the company in your pocket, you don't have. There might be at different locations. I'm not quite sure, but all I saw was Mark Wahlberg posters.
Is it like Merle living off the success and legacy of Gigi?
Shit, I would not question that shit at all if I could get any money off. Like,
if your brother was Mark Wahlberg,
I would take advantage of that.
and Donnie's there too.
Yeah.
Huey, Louie, and Dewey, they're there too. They had these things on the ceiling. They had like all the movies that Mark and Donnie were in, and it warmed my heart to see Saw 2 so big and bold up there. I'm like,
I miss that.
There's that Donnie Wahlberger representation.
I miss that because I only say that because I was walking to the bathroom, and in the bathroom hallway, there's just nothing of Mark Wahlberg posters.
That's a shame. I think Donnie looks very similar. Am I crazy?
Donnie,
other than having shorter hair, I think
Mr. Wahlberger.
Yeah, Mr. Wahlberger. I think he looks just like Mark.
Not exactly, but I get what you mean.
It's the same facial structure, man. The same eyes. He looks just. I think he looks just like him. But apparently, he liked the role in 2. I had no problems with coming back in 3, but he did request that he die in 3. Now, as you might be aware, he didn't die in 3, did he?
No.
Not that we see. So when that comes up again in 4, it's like, let the motherfucker die.
Right.
Like, he wanted his character to die. Speaking of Eric Matthews, of course, what happens to him? Of course, we're not on 4, but
that's a
sad.
wild turn of events.
Can I say something really controversial, real quick? We're not going to do a formal ranking until we're done talking about all the films.
Yeah.
I'm going to spoil my ranking really quick. My second favorite Saw movie is 4.
That's understandable.
Are you not going to fight me?
No.
I thought I was going to get some backlash for that.
No, that's really solid. It's a crazy entry, man.
I think it's one of the best ones. It handles all the side plots wonderfully. 2. Okay, so the thing about 2 is, yes, the stakes are higher, more locations, more characters, more story. Personally, it's lower on the totem pole. I'm not going to tell you where
2?
I'm ranking it. Yeah.
2?
Yes! I think it has the single best twist in the entire series. But it's not even close to one of my favorite Saw films. Everyone puts it at their favorite.
I know it's not my favorite, but it's at least top 5.
Okay. So the reason the editing in the first movie is so bad. Okay, yeah,
You're
I know it's
such
just.
an editor, man.
I
Just learn
look.
how to just take a course so you have another plaque on your wall, so that every time you start complaining about editing shit, just be like, "See that bitch? See what's on the
Well,
wall?"
actually, one of those plaques certifies me to study sea monkeys. No, not those. That's in another room. I have another plaque that certifies me as an expert in sea monkey biology. So if you need an expert, I'm your man. Just not in editing, but I do know the reason why the editing was so choppy in the way it was in the first film was because they were on such a tight budget with it that they would shoot shots and not have extra film. So in order to both pad out time and to make things look more exciting and with more action, they sped up the footage, put a lot of flashes on there, a lot of filters, and just make it look visually and aesthetically variable. Like there's a lot happening, but in actuality, there's like nothing happening. It's just a camera circling. Like for instance, Amanda sitting in the reverse bear trap chair. Uh,
Yeah.
like it looks way more exciting than it is, but it's just a chick sitting in a chair freaking out. But the way it's shot gives it this sense of urgency, this sense of any second this thing's going to go off, and it works for that film. But moving forward, they have the budget to not stretch film like that.
hmm
So for each subsequent sequel, they retain this because, like, well, this is Saw. Saw feels like bad editing. And every film after that, they double down on let's make the editing as atrocious as possible. And it all starts with two, in my opinion, where it becomes unnecessary. But I will say one good praise about two.
Jesus, you are still going about how much two sucks.
No, I'll give it praise. I'll give it praise,
You're
brother.
still going.
I'll say this. The fucking transitions they do in two are great. Did you notice the transitions?
Yes.
The shot, like scene for scene? Like when
Oh my
Eric's
god.
in the hotel room and he stands up because he gets a call about a case and he walks off the set onto the set of another set. And it's really happening real time. Like it's all a single take from him walking off one set to another set continuously.
I missed that.
When you notice it, you're like, "Oh my god, that's really good!" Like
Yeah.
cinematography. He just goes from one set to another. It's so seamless that you don't even notice it. And to me, that's a damn good transition.
That's a phenomenal transition.
And you didn't even notice. That's what's
Fuck,
so.
man.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
That
Um.
makes it even better now.
hmm So editing gets points off for me, but as far as like actual cinematography and like transitions from scene to
It's
scene,
top five. It's top five.
I I think I like five more than two.
I like seven a lot.
Okay, now we can't talk.
I
Now,
like
how
seven.
do you make? Not just is it 3D, it's also the final chapter. You take the two worst things in every horror franchise and you lump them together. Saw 3D, the final chapter. Give me a break.
It's so funny.
It's
I
so over
love
the
it.
top.
It's so 80s.
So look. The SWAT gets there at Kramer's little hideout, right? I love the set design. It definitely looks like some mad scientist laboratory. He's got this smug look on his face. He's like, "Your son's in a safe place, Detective Matthews." And that's one thing I really love about John is as much of a hypocrite as he is, he almost never lies. He's an honest guy. If he tells you your son's in the safe place, take it literally. I'd be like, "Where's the fucking safe at?" And give me the combination. I wonder how much of the movie would have been avoided if he picked up on that. He's like, "Yeah, if you just sit here with me for an hour, which is hard to do when your son's being held captive and there's a nerve gas house happening right at the same time. Uh, to sit there for an
He
hour,
knew he wasn't going to sit there for the hour.
Well, of course if he knew, he would have come up with a better test. He's like, this angry asshole whose son I kidnapped. Of course he's not going to sit here and listen to me talk about why I'm right for an hour. This is what John was doing. He was sitting there giving this whole spiel
Stroking himself off too.
the whole time about how his philosophy is so great and how he sees the world and how he's not a bad guy. And if you listen to that for an hour, you'll get your son back. If if he just followed the damn train, CJ, we wouldn't be having the problem. That's all he had to do, just sit there for an hour and he'd get his son.
That's not what happened.
And he never finds out.
He does. He never finds out what happened to his son.
That poor motherfucker. I feel so bad for
God,
him.
the police recovered his son. There's no issues whatsoever. Oh my God.
We never see his son Daniel again either.
We see the safe open up, and at that point, we just know he's good.
He shows up very, very briefly in one of the sequels for like a flashback scene, but he's in the background, and it's probably not even the same actor. That's it. We don't know what his actual fate is. We don't know what he goes does. Does he look for his dad? Who knows? All I know is his dad doesn't know his son's alive, and that's just so tragic.
I mean, honestly, the way that they left off, he probably doesn't care where his dad is.
That's even more sad and tragic.
Yeah, he doesn't know that his dad worked so hard to find him.
If I could explain like why the movies have this aura of tragedy around them, is really a lot of the heavy lifting done by the soundtrack. The titular "Hello Zep" theme that's prevalent in every Saw film, and it usually is accompanied by some big twist reveal, or
That was probably.
over.
If we're not gonna do this, but I would say that's a top 5 tape for me. Hello Zep.
It's so good.
We're not. There's too
No.
many tapes, but I
No.
would say that's probably my top 5.
I like that reveal is crazier than John getting off the floor. Because at this point, we are confident that Zepp is the only one doing this. Like, there might be an accomplice, but as far as we know, it's just Zepp Hindle committing these. But to find out in the tape that he's just another subject, he's just another victim.
It's his test.
And that's
stressing his whoop because he's just a janitor at a doctor's place, you know.
yeah. Why was he there? What did he do? John is specifically targeting people he has beef with, and he wants to say, "Oh, it's a retribution. It's not revenge."
Okay. So before we move forward, it's still on topic. Why was Zepp giving John praise? What does he have to benefit from that?
I thought about this too because in that one scene, we don't know who John is, and this is why it's kind of a bad reveal, like from a writing standpoint, because this character has nothing to do with the plot. But for like 5 seconds, who's that guy right there? That's John. He's special. Fucking what?
Who?
Yeah. So when the reveal happens, we're like, yeah, I guess. I guess I see the reveal. They did that whole scene just to set up the reveal because there's no setup for it.
Mm-hmm. They had to do something.
Zepp had to say. I'm going to be honest with you.
I don't think they had anything planned for Zepp other than being the accomplice.
That's it. And I really like him as an accomplice character.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just a victim. Not in the same way that Amanda's an accomplice. He did the things John wanted him to do, but like from a writing standpoint, the only answer I can give you is why that scene was in there. Zepp needed to say something, so the audience would be drawn to his character, and we would recognize his face. He had to say something on screen while being the focus of a shot, and also draw attention to John. How would he do that? That's John Kramer. Have more respect. That guy's special. The reason he's special is because he holds his life in his hands. That's why I don't think it's him stroking him off. I think he's like, please don't piss this guy off because I'm already in deep shit right now. I think that's why. I don't think he's stroking him off. I think he's just like, please don't piss him off anymore.
Wahlberger has such a good character. I love Wahlberger so much. much. He does. He is somebody that is in it straggles that line of you love to hate him, but you also you hate to love him. He's like in this constant like scale going back up and down. You love him, you hate him, you love him, you hate him. He's just such a well written character. He's trying to be a good father after the divorce. He's trying to be present, but he has a temper, and I think all of us can really relate to that.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes it gets the best of us, he's someone who struggles with not being able to always make the right decision, and you see him like get very emotional, very angry, very sad, very vocal about his own issues going on. And he's very vulnerable, but he's still this angry detective just trying to get his son. He don't give a fuck about Jigsaw and the things that he's doing. If it was up to him, he'd have him dead.
He almost shot the guy. They didn't stop him.
Yeah.
Here's the issue, Slug. He arrested innocent people and put them in jail knowing that they were. Oh, he's a nuanced, complicated character. He fabricated, like, documents that got good, innocent people arrested. But then you relate to him on a sympathetic level. Oh, he's got a son.
He's trying.
Oh, I hate the way when the reveal. Of course, we the audience know this, but the people in the Nerve House don't know that Daniel is Eric's son. And personally, I just don't think who cares if your dad arrested you? They're like have this vendetta, like his dad is some superhero, and they're all a bunch of supervillains. Like your dad arrested us too many times. Like who gives a fuck? Who fucking cares? That's his dad. He's a kid. He's 17 years old. What are you blaming him for? He didn't do this to you. So when Amanda's like, please tell me no. Please tell me. First off, Amanda, you already know what's going on. Don't. She's a good actress. I'll give it to her. The whole movie, but I'm like rewatching. Of course,
Kind of too good because she's playing a character who's acting. So you're acting as a character who's acting.
too many layers. It's Inception of acting.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
What do you mean?
You want to talk about like an actor, like a real actor? I'm not saying anything about the actress that plays Amanda. I'm just saying that Daniel Day-Lewis is just like the best actor ever. Next to Gary Oldman, of course. You disagreeing with me? I think those are the two greatest actors of all time.
Steve McQueen.
He was not a teenager.
Steve McQueen. Fuck, I can't remember his name, but he was in all of those '80s movies. He's got like the baby face. He's in the stuff. He's the smart alecky guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him. I watched a lot of movies with him, but I can't. I'm really bad with actors' names.
You're an American. You need to do better with your pop culture.
Christopher Lee. As I've gotten older, he's kind of fallen out of my favorites, but I'd like to mention James Franco. It's one of my favorites.
He used to be.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's some allegations some years ago, but I
don't know anything's going on with him.
He was supposed to be making Blood Meridian, but that was years ago. I don't think he's doing that anymore. He even shot footage for it, but okay. I'm a big Robert Redford fan. I like Marlon Brando. He's an absolute dick. He's like Danzig. He's he's an asshole, but like you kind of give him a pass because you just like the movies and his roles. Daniel Day-Lewis, Gary Oldman. I said this during the comedian bit we had some episodes ago. You had asked me like what my favorite comedian was, but he's still an actor. Either Buster Keaton or Charlie Chaplin. They're some of my favorite actors. Buster Keaton is one of the greatest actors of all time. And you will not hear anyone parrot that or repeat what I just said. Buster Keaton is one of the most underappreciated actors of all.
Assholes.
I mean, he was, but like, who isn't, right? That's the problem of Saw. If everyone was equally punished for all their transgressions, there'd be no one left to punish. Everyone's an asshole. Does everyone need to go through a trap? We go through trials every single day. Every day is a trial. Life is war, and every day is a battle. And you want to?
War never changes.
Okay, Ron Perlman, put him on the list. Put him on the list. I kind of want to see a Saw movie with celebrities playing themselves.
Just reenacting Dr. Phil and Shaq, but just like in an actual Saw movie.
Yeah, but like have them actually be tortured. So it's like a snuff film.
We'll go to Italy.
Every time we're like, wait, are you suggesting we're going to film it?
Yeah.
We're going to kidnap people? Well, don't say that on the podcast. That was supposed to be secret.
You're the one who said we were kidnapping people. Now we can't do it. It's your fault we can't make these
You
movies.
you expanded on the plan that we agreed not to tell everybody. Okay, guys.
The movie's off. Chandler ruined it.
All right, so here's what's up. We're actually Jigsaw killers. This whole podcast is a front. You know our deep dark secret.
I love how you picked up the beer and just did not take a swig of it.
Like I picked up the Heineken and I'm like, I want to drink this, but then I looked at it, I'm like, no, I don't.
Nobody likes Heineken.
I don't like Heineken. I just need to get rid of all this free beer. I need to do something with it. Okay, I'll drink it. I'll drink it. I need to finish it off because we got to finish the promo later, and we need the beer bottles.
I did my part. I drank all the Bud Light.
That's what really made you sick.
Mm-mm.
Here's to you, Jimmy. It's 5 o'clock in heaven.
Here.
All the time. I was gonna clank it against your glass, but it'd be too loud.
Glass and glass, man.
Mm-hmm. Saw 2, not my favorite. Not my favorite.
Yeah, Land Shark isn't that great either. Sorry, Jimmy.
No, Land Shark sucks. I've yet to have Rolling Rock. I don't know what Jimmy's opinion on Rolling Rock is, but I do know.
James Groff likes Rolling Rock.
That's the only reason I know of Rolling Rock, if I'm being honest. Maybe if John Kramer drank, maybe he wouldn't be having this problem. Think about that.
Didn't Amanda have a drinking problem? One of the characters had a drinking.
A lot of them have.
Eric has a drinking problem.
He's a detective. I mean, it comes with the territory. You know? I don't know. Personally, I think there's only a handful of people in Saw that actually deserve what happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you think anyone in the first movie deserved anything to happen to him? Don't say the wife. I know you don't like the wife.
She just reminds me of Skylar White, yo.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Other than her, no. 2, there's only one guy. Xavier.
Xavier sucks.
You can't write a more deplorable character.
No, he does not give a fuck
about anything, and he is out for himself. Numero uno.
Dude, there's got to be some kind of psychological level with Amanda, knowing that Jigsaw is putting her in this situation with all these deplorables. Something bad is going to happen to her, especially if she's being put back into a trap.
She almost died multiple times.
Yeah.
Xavier picks her up and just tosses her ass into the needle pit.
Yeah.
Okay, answer me this. Riddle me this, Batman. When I was younger, before I saw the movie, I'd seen clips and I'd see animations on YouTube. That's where I got most of my exposure from. I distinctly recall. Now, tell me if this is a Mandela effect. I recall the needles being in a toilet. No. I have such an intense, lucid memory.
You're mixing 1 and 2. When Adam reaches in the toilet.
Maybe.
That's the only thing I got for you. Is you might be mixing up the 2.
I remember it so distinctly that
I remember seeing something like that, but it wasn't in a Saw movie.
I don't know. All I know is Xavier tosses her in the needle pit. And funny thing about the needle pit, when they first made it, they didn't have enough needles to fill it, so they'd spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on hundreds of thousands of needles.
Mm-hmm.
All of them, of course, for real. So they would need. There was people whose entire job on set was to take the needles out and replace it with fake ones, and they would do that for days. And they're still the pit is still too shallow. Like there's hundreds of thousands of needles in there. It's like barely a foot deep.
Mm-hmm.
So when she gets thrown in there, she's barely missing the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not deep at all. And also the wood lining of the hole itself is all rubber. It's all fake. I love production details like that. Like you think it's this really deep pit, but it's not. She's like a foot away from hitting the ground. So I'm sure they put like cushioning or something underneath to loosen the fall, but I think that's a fun little anecdote. But yeah, fuck Xavier, that guy sucks.
Yeah, that poor bastard looking down the barrel, opening the front door.
Oh, I think his name's Gus.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So okay, if every trap is meant to be won and it's all fair, tell me what was fair about that. Of course, you're in a room. You want to escape. You open the door to escape. That makes sense.
You turn the handle and the gun goes off, right?
Yeah, but you just have to be looking through the peephole at the same time.
Dude, it's one of those be aware of possibilities.
These
Yeah,
people are drugged. They just woke up. They're scared. They're confused. They're not thinking like that. You can't just expect people like Jeff from 3, for example. Everyone calls him Slowpoke Jeff because he's so slow to react. But my thing is, the motherfucker just woke up. He's drugged.
yeah.
All these people are drugged. You can't just expect them to act rationally because they can't. They just woke up. And that's what it's like to not be drugged and wake up. You know what that's like.
Yeah.
It's
hard,
yeah. Like sometimes you're in bed for like an extra few hours. You hit
Dude,
snooze.
it's so much like from 3 or 4 when the Ditsy's bleeding out on the ground. She's just like 5 more minutes.
Yeah,
I felt that.
4 is so good.
Yeah.
I think it's better than 2 and 3 combined, but we got to move through 2. You got any standout moments for you?
Opie.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Poor guy.
I think he's got the most iconic death in the movie. The furnace.
Fried alive.
So he could have lived.
He could have.
There's a sign that literally tells him what to do to turn it off. He just has to go through the fire. And he notices this before the fires get too big. So he could have just backtracked, get back there. Yeah, he would have been burned, but he wouldn't have died.
Right. He started panicking.
Most of these people panic, and that's
Yeah.
what causes them to die. But a lot of them are just assholes. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm sorry. If the point of this is to learn empathy, that's not the message I'm getting. Maybe if you make them likable, I wouldn't want to see them die horribly. We just don't get enough of Obi. He's kind of like a Zep character. He's forced to kidnap the other ones and bring him there. He dies in the furnace. Oh, the blonde-haired chick. She just dies. I don't even know why she was there. She never went to jail like the others. I honestly have no clue what her backstory is. She just kind of is there crying, and she dies because of the nerve gas,
she dies from a nerve gas.
which sucks.
Yeah.
But why does she die of nerve gas, but the others don't?
Amanda and the kid probably had been given something prior.
I love this fact. The fact that Jigsaw always intended for Daniel to live.
Yeah.
I don't feel like the Jigsaw from 1 would have made the same decision. He's like, I don't want the kid to die. You sure? Because you're about to kill a much smaller little girl in the first movie. Like, you have any qualms about killing it? Because he's a year from being an adult. You almost killed a fucking child. You were going to. It was going to happen. He was going to kill a little girl, man. You can't tell me that he has some affinity for children. Oh, he built a Billy doll because of his dead son. Bro, he was about to kill a fucking 6-year-old child. Like, give me a break, man.
Oh my god.
Like he has morals.
He
Anyways,
got some.
he did have an out plan for Daniel. He always planned for Amanda and Daniel to live. But like, what if everyone lived? Well, like he's
Like, okay, what if the judge lived? What if he freed the girl? What if he was able to free the like the scenario with Jeff's trial? Everybody lived. What would when they all got into that one room? What do you think would have happened?
it's kind of scary to think, but uh, the problem with the what ifs here is they have to make an out of character decision.
Hmm.
No one in these movies makes an out of character decision.
No.
So when we say what if, yeah, what if he was a better person? What if Jeff just decided I
Everybody gonna live.
yeah, everybody gonna live, and he decides that he's gonna have more urgency, he's gonna act quicker, he's gonna think quicker. Yeah, what if? That's not who he is.
Not a quick thinker.
He's not a quick thinker, and he also doesn't give a shit.
Clearly, he's not. If you let his kid, who's already playing in the road, get hit by a car.
Reminds me of Gage from Pet Cemetery. Just not as cool. But uh, here's my opinion on the end of 3, really quick. The thing about the ending is like John was gonna die no matter what. But because we know 4 is happening concurrently with 3, the amount of forethought and planning he has with that is astronomical. I can't even conceive how many like alternatives there were. But you could think about it. There's so many alternatives. Like there's so many things that could have gone wrong with his plan up until the moment he dies.
Hmm.
So much can go wrong. So his whole plan was Amanda was just gonna let Lynn go, which would mean that when Jeff got there, he'd have no reason to kill her. Therefore, Jigsaw wouldn't die because Jeff would probably kill Jigsaw if Lynn died because that would make him mad. Do you see like how many moving parts there are to every
That's not
plan?
even including what Hoffman's doing in 4.
Because Hoffman is present for the other movies,
Yeah.
but we don't know that yet. Because
It feels like the first half of the movies is about Amanda, and the second half is about Hoffman.
It is.
You know,
Like 4, 5, 6, and 7 is literally just Hoffman, 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 Hoffman.
4, 5, 6 is Hoffman. 7 is Gordon, baby.
He's in 2 scenes.
He's the best part of the movie.
Oh, this is what I meant to say earlier. I don't think I completed my thought because I'm so scattered. But there's like so many talking points for these movies. There's so much to discuss. Something I didn't even talk about is like back in the day when I was watching these old Saw videos, back when it was like brand spanking new, and people were theorizing. A lot of people had theories about in 2 with the Venus flytrap on Michael, who's the informant. That's where Eric Matthews goes in the very beginning, and that's where he finds out where to go to find Jigsaw. Venus flytrap is such a cool trap. It's so cool. But with that whole scene, um, the tape that plays on the CRT, it shows a guy in a hood, presumably Jigsaw, limping toward Michael's body so he could put the key under his eye. And that's on the footage. There's a distinct limp in the person doing it, and people theorize back in this is like 2006. I mean, YouTube's brand new. These
That's
movies.
Gordon.
It's Gordon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like people had that theory then.
That's crazy. That's wild.
And it's not till 7 that the theory created because of a 1 second scene in 2 plays out in 7. That's when you get confirmation that it's Gordon. But think about how many movies had to pass. Now, granted, it's year by year, so it's not like some franchise where it takes like 20 years to get to a sequel.
H2O.
Like, yeah, that's fucking forever to get some of the... like, from 1 to 4 was an entire decade.
Yeah.
We had an entire trilogy of films just by 2006. And it came out in 2004. And then they're like, just like Scott Cawthon with Five Nights.
Why stop now?
They're like, well, They say they're gonna stop in 3. They say that the reason I call bullshit is because they very clearly set up Hoffman in 3, and he is the most like
He's
he's the
sketch,
most
man.
conspicuous, most standoffish, most suspicious looking motherfucker you've ever
He's
seen.
sus.
I didn't want to say sus.
He's so sus.
He would suck at Among Us.
Didn't I say Hoffman was venting? Didn't I say
Yes.
that when we were watching it?
Yes. Hoffman's venting.
Hoffman's venting.
Nav, go get him. Oh, dude, he would. He's the kind of guy to wait by the button in the cafeteria. So when you go to hit the button on him, he's already there waiting for you.
Yes.
Because I think Hoffman in Among Us isn't the type of guy to go on a killing spree and kill everybody. He only kills people that suspect him.
Yes.
So if you start getting too suspect of him, he would kill
He's
you.
so sus.
Hoffman is the most sus motherfucker. I swear.
He's the imposter. He's
Well,
like immediately on screen. He's like, there he is.
Well, I mean, he quite literally is a jigsaw imposter.
Yeah.
He carries the title moving forward, but he's so like they planned this out because he's an actor who was given direction. He was told by the director, "Hey, act suspicious." And he's like doing all the telltales. He's like averting his gaze, not making proper eye contact. Because with the classroom,
my man really says all he had to do was walk out the door.
Why would you say that? Because you're one of the first detectives on the scene. The door was welded shut.
Mm-hmm.
I believe his name was Troy, the guy in the classroom. He could have left. If he had finished with a few extra seconds on the clock, he won. Like, he technically won.
Yeah.
All he had to do was leave the room. But he couldn't because the door is welded shut and there's a nail bomb in there. No shit, he died. Hoffman's like, already with his first lines of dialogue where all he had to do was walk out of the room, despite the fact you were on the scene first. You clearly know the door was welded shut. You fucking opened it.
Right.
What do you mean walking? Come on, man. Like, he's like, no shit. He's the killer in the next movie. Whatever. I that always bothered me. But like on a rewatch, knowing that it's Hoffman, it flows. It's very, very serialized. It goes from one to the next. But if you were sitting there in the theater for the first time and seeing this, that's his only scene in the movie. So imagine if 3 is the last movie. You're left with, that movie was good and all, but who the fuck was that dude earlier in the movie? You would have no payoff. You'd have absolute. It's like Five Nights at Freddy's 3 when you get the big reveal about Fredbear and Spring Bonnie. It's like, these are really cool Easter eggs. I'm glad they're here. They very clearly are meant to progress the lore and the plot. But if it ended there, you'd have no answers. And there's so many answers we wouldn't have. Like, who the hell is the woman showing up in John's visions when he's got the brain surgery happening in 3?
Mm-hmm.
Who's that? Who's the woman? Who's that really weird detective from earlier in the film? It builds up so many questions, and if this was the last one, we would have no answers.
No answers.
No answers. Oh.
It's so, like, well written to feel like half of a movie.
Yeah. And 3 feels long, too.
Yeah.
It still doesn't feel like a full film.
An hour and 107 minutes, right?
That's what it said when you pulled it up on Peacock, but it felt like so much. 2, like, I know you love 2, everyone loves 2, but to me, there's just not a lot of meat on the bones. For some of them, quite literally.
I feel like why I like it so much, it's just like an encapsulation of just like, yeah, this is a really solid Saw sequel. You know? Like, it's a open and shut kind of story, except the best way to do those, if you're really trying to make a next movie, is to have a solid out. Is like John was left in the car. That's perfect. That's all you need. You know, John was left in the car unsupervised. Eric never made it out. You know,
Yeah.
That's just like all you need is just who John lives. Eric was trapped.
If it ends with 2, we have far less lingering questions.
Mm-hmm.
But the second you get the 3,
There's
even
nothing but questions.
and we still have questions.
Yeah.
Still, as convoluted as it is, that's the enjoyment of these movies. To me, I don't. I know you love gore. I know you love the traps. I gotta be real. If I'm going to a Saw movie, I'm going for characters. I'm going for like the moral quandaries they present to the audience. And more than anything, I'm going for the story. I think the story is really good. It's a very tragic and sad tale, exemplified by tragic characters and tragic situations of their own doing. But because of that, it's a human story. It's so like I don't know. It makes you think. It makes you feel. More than any other horror franchise I can really think of, it brings more drama to the table than I think it brings horror. Horror to me in this context is the least meaningful aspect of the film. I don't give a shit about the traps. It's a thriller. These first few films until you get to like 4 or 5.
Thriller.
Hmm?
It's a detective thriller.
It's a modern like neo noir.
A gory noir.
Yeah, it's like CIS if they had gore in it. That's it. I've heard some people call it a Lazy Man 7.
Yeah.
Don't agree with that label either. But to me, they're barely horror films. They are dramas and they are thrillers, and that's what I'm going to first. The traps are secondary.
I feel like Saw 1 is horror, and then everything after that is detective thriller with horror themes.
You think the first one's straight horror?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think about the brain surgery? No, it's not brain surgery. Okay, so Lynn is trying to alleviate the pressure from John's skull. That whole sequence, as a guy who likes gore, how well done do you think that was?
It's pretty good. It's all you for something like that. All you need is convincing. You don't need over blood, over graphic gore. You just need convincing, and that's what it does well. Like it makes you feel like holy shit, that's his breath. That's his skull. Okay, like you start getting the squirms. Like that's what I thrive for in a horror movie, to make me squirm. And what is it? Was that last afternoon? Yesterday? We were watching it. I got a squirm from when he opened up
I
the.
saw.
Yeah, that was awesome. I was loving it, man. When he opened up his brain too, like that thin layer of membrane before you actually get to the brain. I've noticed it's very 50-50 with like portrayals of the brain. Like usually, it's when you crack open the skull, it's the brain, but we have a layer over our brain before our skull.
Mhm.
And I think that it's really nice that they showed that.
They did a lot of research. Now, specifically with the autopsy scene in 4, I've heard a lot of morticians. Not that I talk to a lot of morticians, but
You're on Reddit a lot.
I'm on Reddit. I have read other people say this about morticians is that they have verified that that's a very accurate portrayal of what an autopsy would look like. The sounds, and that translates even to 3 with the whole scene with her alleviating the pressure from his skull. Is that every sound, every cut, every incision made is very accurate. Even to the level of blood that would be present. John's is a trooper, man. He went with like zero anesthetics. He had like some. It was like very mild anesthetic, but he was completely alert and conscious. Man didn't flinch. Man didn't say nothing.
Man was cracking jokes.
He thought it was a funny man.
Yeah.
He was a real soldier that day. Yeah, I thought it was an excellent scene. Let's talk real quick about Jeff.
My name is Jeff.
I think Jeff is the perfect foil to Jigsaw. Most people I've seen hate this guy. The reason why I think Jeff is the perfect guy to end Jigsaw, and I think John sees this too, is that they're one and the same. Intellectually, maybe not so much. I think
He had his son taken from him.
he had his son taken from him. Like he sees that. Like John is kind of being a predator on that front, where he sees somebody suffering the same loss that he did, and just has to put salt in the wound
Yeah,
with the Billy
as
doll.
much as I love mean horror, I love the fact that they just took a little bit too far.
Just mocking him with his son's death with Billy on the
Damn it,
tricycle.
man, that was rough.
I'm like, damn, really trying to make him feel, huh? But he's trying to make him feel what? Anger? Because I guess the whole point is to push him to make the bad decision. This is why I think Jeff is perfect is the last test of Jigsaw. Why he was so concerned with this, because they're the same guy. He lost his son, and he has a vendetta.
Wife left.
Wife left. He's angry about that. More than anything, he's vengeful.
Mhm.
And because of that, Jigsaw, even though he doesn't want to admit it, is just as vengeful and just as focused on hurting others who he deems have wronged him. That's why you see him go after a lot of medical staff or the insurance people. He wants to say he's completely non-biased and he doesn't pick and choose. Yeah, you do. You pick people who have wronged you in some way, whether it be financially or what. You're choosing. Art Blank is a lawyer or attorney from Four. You're choosing people that you know
Hmm.
who have done stuff to you, or simply you want to put through a trial. But at the end of the day, you're choosing these people for a reason.
Was Amanda his first trial?
No, that was Cecil,
Mm.
which we'll see the more we review these movies. I believe his name was Cecil Adams. And of course, Adam being his first, it's another religious allegory.
Hmm.
Or I'm just reading too far in that. I think there is some religious symbolism. The whole, like the whole belief in karma and justice and stuff coming back to you, uh, could be like an Eastern philosophy, and there's a lot of Eastern philosophy in John's teachings, anyways. About coming to peace with oneself, you must rid yourself of all this baggage, all this burden, and that's how he thinks you should do it. What the fuck was I talking about? Which part?
We're talking about 3, and you were
Oh,
asking me about the open head surgery.
Jeff. Yeah,
Jeff being the final kill.
why I think that it's so important is because like the whole vengeful side of Jigsaw is something he represses. Like he talks about reformation. He talks about people being reborn and rejuvenated. But I think I began this episode by saying that I think that's a complete lie. Where I think the whole point of his games is to drag the world down with him. He's a dying man with nothing to lose, and he wants to make other people as miserable as he is, and turn them into the killer he says he's not.
Right.
To prove uh, the human soul, he like no one's any better than he is. That's almost like the Joker. He wants to prove everyone's as bad as he is. Under if you just have like one bad day. Jeff is the same thing. He's a broken man seeking revenge, lost his son, his wife left. And so essentially Jigsaw is confronted by himself at the end. And he says, "Jeff, can you forgive me?" And I fucking love that. It's a killer. He's like, "Can you forgive me for everything I just put you through?" Or yada yada yada. Jeff only he doesn't care about the forgiveness part. He just wants to kill Jigsaw. That's all he wants.
Hmm.
Jigsaw wants this. Jigsaw wins. He gets everything he could possibly want by the end of it. Really, other than Amanda dying, which he didn't really foresee, but he knew was a possibility,
Hmm.
so he wasn't shocked by it. The reason why Jeff is perfect is because he is Jigsaw, and Jigsaw. If Jeff won, quote unquote, if Jeff just forgave him and didn't kill Jigsaw, Jigsaw would have been forgiven, and he felt like I've been justified in what I've done. I have been forgiven, and I feel like I can die easier now because of that fact. Or, and what really happened in this event, he kills him after forgiving him, and in that case, Jigsaw still wins, and Jeff loses. I think that's why Jeff is actually a really good character.
I like Jeff. Fuck you guys. You were terrible to Jeff. Jeff deserved better.
He really did, especially when you see what Peter Strong did to him in the next movie. But we're not there yet. So that's, unless you got anything else you want to add, that's 3.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to you?
Yeah.
Want to talk about some traps individually?
Yeah, we can do that. The traps. Let me pull up the traps. I'm ready to go. Chandler set it up for me and everything. So, we're going to start with the basic bathroom trap from the first movie. What's like, saw your leg off, that's it? That's all you got? You only gotta find a code, unlock it like an actual escape. No, it's just straight up. You guys saw your leg off if you want out.
It's
Am
more
I-
complicated. I mean, it's not, but that's like, oh, there's invisible paint on the wall, or I mean, well, even like the part where they knock the piece of glass off the mirror, and it's revealed that Zepp's watching through a camera. Like the whole two-way mirror thing was cool, but it wasn't part of the game.
No.
It's a reveal that has nothing to do with anything they solved. It was an accident.
Right.
They revealed something about their predicament, but it had nothing to do about advancing the game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like they have the invisible paint or the heart shaped shit on the toilet. There's like aspects to the game, but there's really just when you boil it down, it's like what will you do for a Klondike bar?
Did Gorman have a key? Dr. Gordon?
No,
He didn't have a key?
no, just Adam. So Adam was supposed to like walk around the room. Adam would have gotten access to the gun sooner. He would have had access to everything,
Mm-hmm.
putting Gordon at a very distinct disadvantage. To me,
I don't think Gordon would have ever gotten the gun from Adam.
no. I think Adam would have shot him a lot sooner. But because they were forced to work together, like to me, that's the heart of this game. And the heart of the first movie is Gordon and Adam's relationship. Like their dynamic is the propellant for that film. What makes it so interesting, and why I kind of wish the movie would just stay in the bathroom, because I just want to see their dynamic play out. The trap itself is barely a trap.
Cut your leg off, dog.
It's just 127 hours all over again.
Mm-hmm.
You're stuck. You got to cut off a limb. Boom, there you go. That's the trap. It's good for the first movie, but as the traps get more advanced as the movies go on, you kind of forget it even existed.
Razor wire trap with Paul, the fat guy.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Pig.
Piggy. No, god damn it. Fuck you.
Do you know why he was in there?
Why was he in there? Because he's a pedophile?
No, that's 4.
Oh, yeah.
There's a guy in 4. Remember, I was like, there's only like a handful of people who actually deserve that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like Xavier from 2 and the pedophile creeper dude from 4. So like the reason Paul was in the razor wire trap was because he cut himself. Oh, you like to cut yourself, Paul? Well, I'll give you all the cutting you'd ever want to do.
All right.
Puts him in a foot. It was so easy to escape. You just get on your back, push yourself forward, and like hold up the barbed wire as you go underneath it. Like, yeah, you're gonna cut yourself, you're gonna hurt yourself, but like you'll be fine.
You're not going to be standing on top of barbed wire.
He tried to crawl through it.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that? What, are you stupid, Paul?
The door locks.
It's a cool trap, but all the traps in the first movie feel like stuff anyone could put up together. That's some world class civil engineer. Anyone could put together a barbed wire trap. Anyone could lock someone's ankle to a shackle. Takes no creativity or effort. Jigsaw was just off that day.
So, The wax trap with Mark.
The flammable jelly.
I like this one where he's trying to find the combination with it. I think I like this one. This one's a good one.
There's not enough.
What do you mean?
It's a real I honestly, it's the coolest quote unquote trap in the whole movie. And there's maybe like 10 seconds of screen time for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just think there should be more. No, it doesn't service the plot, so it's fluff already. The mere inclusion of it is just to show that Jigsaw has other victims, that they know who this guy is. That's the only reason it's there. They did not have to make it one of the coolest, most interesting traps in the first film.
Yeah.
The glass on the floor, and he's covered in this flammable jelly, but he has to use a lit candle to figure out what the right combination is, and he done goofed. Bada bing, bada boom.
Fucking dropped his goddamn candlestick.
Oh, his name should have been Jack.
Poor Ben. Excuse me.
God, it's so ironic. His name is Jack. Just drink some Bud Light.
I'm out.
You good, Broham?
Yeah, I'm good.
See, the real trap is alcoholism. That's what they don't tell you.
They really don't tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, Amanda's trap.
The reverse bear trap?
Mm-hmm.
It's the most iconic in the entire franchise.
Once you see it, you don't forget it.
I think it's stupid. And I'll tell you why it's stupid. I think it's stupid because the second guy who's like the bear trap, it's cool. The bear trap itself is fine. It's an iconic design. Gotta love it. It's a classic. The second guy involved in Amanda's trap, Jigsaw says he's dead. This is what I'm saying. The Jigsaw in this first movie is so different from the Jigsaw in other movies because he's such a brutal dick in this one. He's such a troll. He's like, oh yeah, the guy on the floor is dead. First off, he already played that trick on us once. But he's like, the guy on the floor is dead. He's got this question mark sign on his belly, and she has to cut him open to get the key out for the bear trap. The dude's alive.
Mm-hmm.
So was he tested before and lost? Or did he just kidnap some dude and force her to kill him?
I feel like it's people who failed their tests.
Well, if Amanda failed her test, then her entire jaw would become like destroyed.
Well, I feel like it's kind of like Adam's situation. He lost because he couldn't get out of his restraints.
So he got left behind.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those situations where they just pick him up.
Well, in that case, I wish instead of having the flammable jelly guy, it could have been him, and it shows that he failed his test, so he just became fodder for someone else's test. I don't know. I feel like it could have been explained more because they come in with John's ideology and his whole way of thinking,
Well,
and immediately shit on it.
we wouldn't know about that one because there would be no body to be recovered.
I still think it's silly. I think
They just walk in there and it's just tested. It's like, what are we looking at here? The walls are covered in like numbers. There's a safe in the middle and there's glass all over the fuck is this?
They could have been another twist. It could have been another twist. In a movie chock full of it already. I don't know. Personally, I'm just like, the guy had no chance, as far as I'm concerned. He doesn't say any lines of dialogue. By all standards of reason, I shouldn't even care. But I do care, because I'm like, who's this random dude that Amanda kills as part of her test? He didn't have a chance. Who's next?
Speaking of somebody who didn't even have a fucking chance, the guy in the chair with the drills.
We don't know what his test was.
No.
We don't even know. I went on the wiki just to verify to see that I missed something because these movies are very dense. There's a lot going on, a lot of moving pieces. Maybe I missed something. No, there's like no background on this guy whatsoever. Why was he in the chair? What was he being tested for? We don't know.
Maybe he's another failed. He's another failed test, and he's using them as fodder. Just in case somebody comes by, he has a trap.
Yeah, but when they walk
distract.
in, it's already Wait a minute. When Detective Tapp and Detective Singh get there, he has a cloth on him,
Mm-hmm.
and the drills don't come on until they take the cloth off.
Mm-hmm.
So he's essentially like when people put bells on a door handle, and when you open the door, it alerts to the people inside that someone's there.
Mm-hmm.
They just ring the doorbell
Mm-hmm.
by taking off the. So yeah, that's all he was just. I don't know if he was being tested. He was just
He
there.
already was tested. He failed.
Yeah, he's simply there to alert Jigsaw if someone's in his house.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. That's what we got. That's what we're working with.
All right. Let's see.
I despise murderers. Slits Detective Tapp's throat.
Oh yeah, he didn't kill him though.
No, but like, how? He's not a doctor. He's a civil engineer. He fabricates a fucking blade, cuts him right through the middle of the throat. I'm not a murderer. Whatever, man.
All right.
Who's next?
Poor Detective Sting.
Oh, Singh?
Sing, excuse me.
Yeah. It's not even a trap.
Quadruple shotgun trap. That's called a booby trap.
Yeah, this is a different kind of trap. This is the one that's not meant to be one.
Not many traps you're a fan of.
Does it seem like I'm shitting on these?
That was a double entendre.
Yeah,
And you're going in a different direction. But yeah, four shotgun, just boom, 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 boom.
It's not a trap. I honestly,
a booby trap.
I don't even think it should be included on the list.
Well, then we can take off the electric stairs for the SWAT, because that's
You did.
a booby trap.
I included this off your wishes. We can still talk about it.
We can take it off.
No,
we're gonna take
no,
it
no,
off.
no. I want to talk about the electric staircase from Saw 2.
Okay.
I want to talk about it real quick.
No, you're gonna have to wait because we're talking about the Venus flytrap with Michael.
Wait, do I? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're doing order.
Okay.
Yeah. This is from your order. So, yeah.
I thought you were skipping and going straight to the electric staircase. Be like, we're not talking about it. I'm like, fuck, we are going to talk. In fact, I'll skip myself just so I can talk about it.
No, we're talking about the Venus flytrap first.
It's my favorite from us too.
What you got? How does it make you feel?
Do you want me to give you like a whole essay on the Venus flytrap?
Yeah.
I first off, Michael's there because he's an informant for the police. That's why he's being tested, because he's a snitch.
Mm-hmm.
And then so it's like an Iron Maiden for your face. Just get spikes on it, closes like a Venus flytrap. The premise of that alone is like that and the reverse bear trap. Like, if the reverse bear trap's the best trap next to the flammable jelly in the first movie, this is by and large the single best trap in 2.
It's so good, man. Poor Michael, man. Yeah, that was a good effect. I liked it.
He was like, if he won, then the whole plan with Jigsaw leading Detective Matthews to his hideout would have never happened. So it's like he was kind of betting on Michael losing. He was already planning on for him to fail as part of Detective Matthews' test. And again, it just makes Jigsaw look shitty.
He had no faith in Michael.
He really didn't. He planned it was rigged. The game was rigged from the start.
There you go, buddy.
All right. Now you want to talk about electric staircases?
We can talk about electric staircases. Yeah, it's booby trap.
As I talked shit about the quadruple shotgun, how it's not a real trap.
It's a booby trap.
This is simply to keep people from invading your personal space.
Mm.
It's not to teach about anyone a lesson. It's a big fuck you.
Get the fuck off my property.
Yeah, this is the most American thing. You think John Kramer flies don't tread on me flags?
We're not.
You probably would.
We're not.
Man probably would. And they did tread. They tread on those staircases, and they open up, and like another mechanism causes like a slat or like another metal piece to come out and break your legs in half, and then proceeds to electrify the fence. So even if you didn't get your legs broken, you can't just leave. It's just, you're fucked. It's a big middle finger to you. Like, screw you. I love it.
That's a fun one. Let's see. Obviously we got the nerve gas, but Daniel and Adam doesn't die, so Jonas was
The black guy.
yeah.
The one with all the street smarts.
Poor guy literally got beat to death. Let me see the back of your head.
First off, can I just say why that's so stupid?
Yeah.
The whole thing about the numbers on the back of the neck, you could just ask people. Again, everyone had the opportunity in this case to survive if they just work together. And you'll see throughout the movies, people just like are stupid and have no sense of like self-preservation. Because part of self-preservation is working in a team for your own sake, for your own benefit. Even if it's selfish, if you work with that person, them existing, them living, will help you continue your own life if you play it smart. Xavier just went in, fuck everybody here. I will be the sole survivor. I don't know what his fascination.
He said, I don't care if anybody else survives. I'm gonna make sure I'm the sole survivor.
Yeah, he went,
Everybody could have lived.
he actively went out of his way to make sure everyone else lost. He's literally Dick Dastardly. The whole you could have won, but you just had to stop and make sure no one else did,
Right.
and that costs you everything. Because because he noticed, he's the first person to notice, and this is a great contribution he made. They could have been made for the team, pointing out that everyone has numbers on the back of their neck, right in the middle of them trying to solve a combination. That might be important. How about we all go ask each other? Because guess what, buddy? You have a number on your neck. Maybe if you don't kill everybody, they can tell you what that number is.
Fuck it, I'm gonna cut at the back off my neck. I'm gonna get that goddamn number.
Fuck that guy. That guy sucks.
He went out of his way to not work with anybody.
And ruined everyone else's day.
So, Jonas was beat to death.
Mm-hmm.
Gus was shot when he opened the front door.
Yeah.
Addison is the blonde girl, or is that Laura? It's the blonde girl.
Laura's the blonde girl.
Okay, so who's Addison?
She's the streetwalker.
Oh yeah, and
The shattered.
oh yeah,
She had her arms in that box.
How the fuck were you supposed to get out of there?
You I guess bang your face on the glass till it shatters. There's no way.
Put one hand in there, not both hands. That's the only thing I could have thought of. You just like you had to sacrifice your hand. At least in this moment, it's not like you cut off your leg. That's just freedom. In this one, you got to work. You already got the key, or one of the antidotes. Well, I mean, fuck, that might be exactly the same. Anyway, she was able. She lost her hand. She gets the antidote. She's free. She won't die if she just stays there. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's unfair.
Yeah.
That one was a bit unfair. Well, it doesn't help that Xavier walks in, and it's implied that he could have saved her and just chooses not to. But if he did decide to save her, I don't really know what he would have done to do that.
Right.
So it's unfair.
Yeah. Xavier gets shot, right?
Yeah.
Xavier is shot. Laura just dies from the gas, and poor Opie gets burned alive. R.I.P. Opie.
We'll get next.
Saw 3. We are talking about Troy. These ones are going to be starting to be unfair. Like, we see sprinkles of, like, I can see how. We could make assumptions on how they get out of it. But the motherfucker sealed the door shut. And then, like I was, when you were talking about it earlier, I was thinking of maybe, like, if you had enough time to get all the chains off and then put the bomb in one of the tables if you could fit, you know. But like, there's nothing, man. There's nothing because you're not even gonna be thinking about moving the bomb at all because you're assuming you can get the door open.
You're assuming you have a shot.
If he's gonna be like, if you could do this, the door will be open.
Yeah, if you see a time limit, the implication is that you can win.
Mm-hmm.
They say that too in later films. Or like a game is meant to be. They say that in two. A game is meant to be won, which gives you hope that you can survive. But when the whole gimmick of this one is that you can't, that's not a game. That's just murder.
Yeah.
Which is the first hint that Jigsaw's not the only one making these traps either,
Mm-hmm.
because it contradicts them.
Angel Trap. Detective Carey.
She was in one. For one scene, she appeared as Detective Matthews' partner, I guess, in two, and then gets killed pretty quickly in three.
Mm-hmm. Very quickly, actually. She's like literally the second kill, and she's killed before we're even introduced to Jeff.
The main character,
Yeah.
main character of three.
Yeah, there's 20 minutes before we see Jeff.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah. Apparently, Amanda's forklift certified. 'Cause I don't know how the hell
Dude,
she
I
got
used
him
to be
up there.
forklift certified.
I wasn't, and I still use the forklift.
Oh my god. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. We're almost done. You're gonna have to deal with my sickness. I've been sadly down with the sickness since maybe Saturday.
It's not Disturbed's best song.
It's not, but the shotgun collar was one of the best. At least I think so for these first three. It's just so simple and just it's if the game was played right, and it's not Jigsaw's fault that the game was not played right. It's not Lynn's fault that the game was not played right. It's all Amanda why the game was not played right.
I don't believe that.
Really? What do you think?
John saw every potentiality. He saw what could happen. And if he knew that was a possibility that Amanda would fail him, I don't think he would have done it. I think there was a failure on his part. I don't think he wanted the game to end the way it did. He may have seen it as a chance, but I don't think that's what he planned for. The whole Lynn dying at all, the collar being used at all, I don't think was his intention. Because also keep in mind, Jigsaw may have commissioned her to make it, but Amanda built it. It was Amanda's contraption. She did that.
Right.
Jigsaw didn't. I don't think he wanted the game to end the way it did. So no, I like the shot collar. Excuse me, the shotgun collar.
Shotgun shell collar.
Yeah, but I don't think he intended for it to ever actually be used because his life depended on it. He was already going to die, but I don't think he wanted to die in the way he did.
Mm-hmm.
It still proved, though, to some degree that he was right about his philosophy. Jeff forgiving him and then killing him anyways. He died with a smile on his face because he's like, "You're no better than me, no better than me," and he loved that.
Yeah. Hey, what we got? Jeff's whole trial, the whole so this man doesn't get started until maybe the 25 mark.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, lucky 23. When we start getting shots of inside the warehouse. But he wakes up, falls from an extended power jack or forklift. You can tell he's drugged. You can tell he's drugged, he's delirious, and he's just confused. And I don't think a lot of people take that in consideration. But we're not here to talk about Jeff's whole thing because we already did that. We're gonna go from. We're gonna start with the woman that witnessed his son's death, and most of this trial, I don't feel bad. Most of these decisions that Jeff makes, I feel like most people would make.
With the lady in the freezer, that one's tough because it reminds me of a movie, Men Behind the Sun. They saw real like Japanese torture methods from World War II, in which they'd freeze people's hands. And they'd hit them with sticks, just for shits and giggles, just to see like what the effect would be. But to see it done on a whole human body, the effects are good.
I think it's a little cheap. Like once when it shows the end product, I think it's a little cheap.
See, I'm on the opposite end. I think it looks cheap until the finished product. Like when she's finally frozen over, I'm like, that looks pretty good, but the whole build up to that is too quick. Now people complain that the whole movie's too slow, but if you're gonna freeze someone to death and have them turn into literal ice, I feel like the effects of her body should have showed that more.
Yeah, more like decay.
Yeah, I don't
Or
know.
like the
That's
ice, like her blood freezing and it's coming through the skin or something.
mm, like,
Something like that.
it's
I don't know.
nitpicky. It's
Yeah.
at this point we're nitpicking, but
No, it's a fine scene. It's nudity for the series. Good for them.
when I first saw it, and like
It didn't dawn on me.
I'm
It didn't-
so like not over calm, but like the meat and potatoes of the scene is that a lady's is being frozen to death, and so like my mind is thinking of that. I'm not thinking, oh my god, boobies. It was like the last thing. In fact, I had to rewatch the second time to even realize she was naked because that was like the least of what I was thinking about.
Right. I only pointed it out because it's just a trope in horror movies. There we go. We got tits.
All right,
Yeah.
you can pack up, go home.
Yeah.
That's the first one on her trial in his trial.
Yeah. We can go home.
He doesn't even start doing anything until she's dead.
Honestly, yeah.
He waits until she's complete. He looks
I
all
love
dismayed.
I love that quote. That's the thing. You didn't do anything. I love that line so much.
Yeah, because she's the whole time trying to advocate for why he should free her, and it's like the whole trial with Jeff is so poetic. It makes you think, like, would I do that?
Hmm.
Would I not do that? Would I just sit there and watch? I don't know.
So it's also very interesting. That kind of throws you a curveball. With at least for me, when I watched it, I imagined some ruffian kind of just like junkie or whatever that ran his kid over or something. But no, it's just this really nice. Was he a medical student?
He's a medic. He was still going to school.
Yeah, this is a sweet kid.
Whole life ahead of him, but he
Yeah,
made a mistake.
yeah.
And does
That
that
was a big
mistake,
twist for me when I first saw. It. I was like, seriously, this guy?
which is even more poetic.
Yeah.
It's even because it makes you really question. You're like, does one mistake define you?
But we have to go back before we talk about that one. We have to go back and talk about the judge. Judge was next, correct?
Yeah,
I the activist in me says I really fucking hate that scene with the pigs because it's a bit excessive. Obviously, it's fake and everything, but the actual illustration of like from perspective of being a meat plant and everything, they just have racks of just decaying pigs just sitting up there. That it's effective. It's gross. It makes you gag. You get it. You know. Sometimes you gotta bite the bullet for it, but there's some movies that you can't, like Cannibal Holocaust. But that's neither here nor there. But I I'm trying to, because he's not a cop, and that's the typical thing with law enforcement. The number one insult is being called a pig, but he's not a cop. He's a judge, and yeah, there are crooked judges, and there's good judges as well. And you from the perspective, if you're going in, just like you're on Jeff's side. You know, he's everything it seems is like when he gets upset with his daughter for taking the toy out of the room, it's not unjustified because he's not yelling, he's not he's not spanking or punishing her. He's just Just baby, please don't touch that stuff.
Yeah, he's never mean to her. He
No,
seems distant because he's still going through a lot of trauma, and you distance yourself when that happens. But the movie's trying to paint him in a negative light, but I end up just liking him more
yeah.
because he's not bad.
And like it's supposed to emphasize how much of like a danger he is to his daughter. But for me, when I saw the scene of when his daughter's like, "Hey, Dad, I'm gonna go get ready for school," and there's just nothing there, and he stands up, and the gun is revealed. I see that more as not an danger to her, but a danger to himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a split second when he's doing the Travis Bickle dance in front of the mirror where he's pointing the gun at himself.
Mm-hmm.
It does that choppy editing thing it does, and for a split second, for like one
Puts it in
frame,
his mouth.
you can see the guns in his mouth. We don't hear anything about him having suicidal tendencies or anything like that for the entire duration of the film. But that one split second scene is very telling about who he is in actual danger to.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Personally, Jeff's my favorite protagonist, but the judge sentences Timothy Young, the guy who killed his son, to 6 months, which is a big slap in the face. Granted, the kid has a lot going for him. You know, he's going to school. It's like maybe probably a first time offense. Mistakes happen, and we really don't know the context of the event itself. We just know he ran over his kid. It was probably like a Gage from Pet Cemetery type deal, where he just was crossing the road at a bad time.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Jeff's fault. Maybe he wasn't watching.
That's what I was trying to lean towards earlier. Is that his low reaction time is what probably caused his kid to die? It's because it had for me watching it, it painted as if the kid was already playing in the road,
Hmm.
and he like because it's trying to paint almost as if like the kid was his target, like the guy was going out of his way to kill this kid, and it doesn't seem like that when you watch the quote unquote footage of it, you know,
Hmm.
because it just seems like the kid's playing in the road. He just stayed in the road too long and got hit, you know. Obviously, there's got to be some responsibility on Timothy's part, but at the end of the day, get your kid out of the damn road.
So it's really Jeff's fault
Yeah,
in that event. Um, yeah, I guess I'm ready to move on to Timothy.
yeah. Timothy,
It's
it's brutal.
it's the best kill of the movie.
Hmm. You feel sorry because it's like you also don't blame him, but you also feel sorry.
Yeah.
This man caused so much pain to you, but he's also just a kid, you know.
Hmm.
So
Does
it's conflicting.
does one mistake in your life mean you should die horribly because of it?
Yeah.
That's a to me that's a very profound question. Is typically just off the information I was given prior in the film about this guy, I probably would have pressed the button that started his trap before I even met him. But then you meet him and you see him like, yeah, he is presented to you as a human being. And I don't know if I'd be able to make that decision because like with the judge, which by the way, I love how the water, like you said, it smells like chocolate milk. So every time
Hmm.
I think of it now, I just think of chocolate milk. But with the whole judge thing, I think I would have freed him. I don't know if I would have freed him by burning all my child's possessions. You know, the kid I'm doing this for. I don't think I'd burn his entire memory away just to get to his killer. To me, that's moronic because the whole point is you want to preserve your child's memory, but by killing the killer, in order to get to him, you have to burn all of his
That's
belongings.
not necessarily true. He had the option to either save him or kill him.
Well, this is what I'm saying is if I had to,
If he killed him, you were still able to move on to the next room because he killed the girl and didn't save her, and he
yeah,
was able to move
but
forward.
by in order to move forward in this case, or at least in order to retain his child's possessions, like the stuffed animals, the photographs, in order to keep that stuff,
Yeah, to kill him.
he had to kill him.
Yeah.
If he doesn't kill him,
If he doesn't kill him, he gets the stuff.
he gets the stuff. But if he does kill him, he doesn't get to keep the stuff. To me,
No, okay. So if he kills him, he gets the stuff. If he spares him,
okay,
he
yeah,
burns the stuff.
that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could.
Yeah.
Like if I had to, if I haven't experienced too much loss in my life, but of the loss I have encountered, if people I've known who have passed away, if I had all their belongings in one place, I had to burn it just so I could get to somebody.
It wouldn't feel right.
I'm if especially if I'm here because of this person.
Right.
I'm here to avenge them. My idea of avenging somebody doesn't include burning all their personal possessions.
No.
It'd be a big slap in the face from the grave.
And he's
So
rolling over.
yeah, so I don't know. That part was tough, and I understand in that scene Jeff's hesitance to act. That's the only time where I'm like, that makes sense. And with Timothy, the only reason he takes his time is because he's trying to understand the trap. Because it's already going pretty much by the time he walks through the door.
Right.
So he's like,
because once when he kicks open the door, that's what starts it.
yes.
I get it that he's just trying to get through it just to see him and everything, and knowing that the killer is probably in the next room. I wouldn't have just kicked the door open like that. I would have tried to like ease it open and actually look, considering that I've just gone through 2 traps.
That'd be so. If I was in a jaw, like in a jigsaw trap, I'd be terrified to open a fucking door.
Yeah.
I'd be terrified to open the door. I'm like, is it rigged with explosives? Is there a gun? I mean, what's gonna happen? Holy shit!
Am I gonna get piked?
Like, dude, I was just, like, I just scared to touch anything. Like, especially in 3 when Lynn's going around the whole place touching stuff. Like, I wouldn't touch anything, dude. I'd be scared to touch anything. The whole rack, though, just like John, I agree with John. It's also my favorite trap, and it twists and contorts each of your limbs. So it's like on a dial, and it spins like a gear all the way around full 360 until it's completely broken. And it does both legs, and it does the arms, and then it does the head. And I love it saves the head for last because at this point, if the pain's not too overwhelming, you're completely conscious of everything that's happening. It's my favorite trap.
It's a good one.
It's my favorite trap.
I'll have to be reminded of the other ones once when we go through them, but it is really, really good. It's really good.
I want to own it.
Yeah.
But those are the traps. Those are the first 3 movies. I hope you've enjoyed our commentary on it. But it's getting late. Slug here is still sick, and of all the Heineken and Bud Lights he has taken tonight, none of which have helped him. It's strange. It's almost like drinking Heineken is worse for your health. Weird. Any parting words to our dear audience?
Go watch the first Saw movie if you haven't. If there's any one of these you see, like even when we continue talking about all the way up to 9 and then eventually we review the new movie, just go see the first one.
Watch them or don't watch them. Make your choice. Next week. Bye-bye.
Peace.